We're live. Oh, hey man, did you have that video sped up?
Not why?
Because it sounded like it was sped up. You know, when I listen to podcasts in the car and I have them at 1.5, I'm like, did this motherfucker speed up the video, bro? And I'm very proud of that video. I want to see it, and it's at the completely normal rate that it goes at.
I'm pretty sure it's normal.
Well, you'll be able to tell if your voice is like super high pitched and you're talking really fast.
Yeah,
guys.
I know.
Yeah, guys.
I know. Guys, what's up? End of the year. Fuck this shitty year.
Word.
Thank you guys for joining us. The Backlog Chronicles. This episode was completely impromptu because we had no idea what the fuck we were going to do until like 48 hours ago or 72 hours ago when I asked you. You know what I mean? So when I asked Den to come on,
man.
I'm like, you know what, man?
Yes.
Let's just talk all the shitty and good stuff that happened and the games that we like. And let's just send off this shitty year with on a good note at least.
Yeah.
I am Mo, Dr. Mo Kawama, joined by my man, Mike.
What's going on, folks?
And then at the bottom, the man of the hour. Dan, what's up, baby?
Yeah, I don't think I've ever been called that before in my
Hey, man,
life.
you know what, bro? I got to talk to Ainsley, man. If he doesn't call you the man of the hour, there's some fucked up shit. Ainsley, you know what, man? I don't know if you're watching or not, but this is some bullshit. This is some bullshit. The acknowledgement is lacking, Ainsley.
That's some bullshit. I'm gonna have that as my name on Saturday. Man of the hour.
Man of the hour, man. Oh yeah. Dan, thanks for coming, man. Honestly, I know I know it was short notice, and I appreciate you, bro. You know, so
That sound.
what sound? What's up, man? You got sounds in the back?
You guys hear anything?
No, I don't.
Oh, good.
No, you're good. You're Gucci, man. You're
Just your
good.
sweet voice.
Oh yeah. No, you're good, man.
Maybe it was a helicopter or something. It's gone now.
So yeah, this week, that's pretty much what we're gonna be talking about, you know. And before that, Dan, what's new, bro? You got anything going on? Anything new?
Nope. A lot of games.
No?
That's basically.
What are you playing, man? I heard you're playing one that starts with a C and ends with a K and has these 4 fucking numbers in them, man. I heard you put a lot of hours into that bitch.
A lot of hours, like 180-ish, I think, all said and done. So it's 2 playthroughs, bear in mind. So yeah, that's been the bulk of it. So I think like 2 days ago, I finally finished and I was like, okay, I gotta stop. I'm gonna wait for the patch. I've done the Corpo, I've done the Street Kid. Nomad will be done once the nice patch comes out. And
Nice.
I just jumped back into Immortals and just got the platinum today for the Miles Morales game.
Nice,
so
man.
yeah,
Man.
I jump all over the place.
Damn, dude.
That's good.
And that's on top of the 180 hours in Cyberpunk. Man, you're a fucking machine, bro. I swear to God you are.
That's what I do.
Oh, dude, I love it. Holy shit. Honestly, yeah, I was telling you before the show. I haven't even that's all I've been playing. I haven't been playing anything else. I got 95 hours in and I'm still on my first playthrough. I'm playing as Nomad. And I keep gushing about the game and talking about it on Twitter and just pissing off the people that don't like the game because they don't want to play it or they don't care to play it and they just want to get on that hate bandwagon. So sorry, man.
I'm still trying to figure out. I know how Ains plays, so but you, I think, play a little bit differently. But 90 hours in, and when you told me where you were, it doesn't make sense to me. Like, I don't even know, like, you just have been driving around, just been like, yeah, I'm just going to go for a ride and just hang out, call it good. That is insane.
No, man. Yeah, I'm telling you, I don't know how either, to be honest with you, you know, because I did a lot of things, like, out of order, too, you know? Like, I mean, I was telling you, like, Judy's storyline, you know, when you actually see her again. This and I neglected that for days, and I finished, like, Pan Am, You know, I finished her and all her quests, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna clear out the right side of the map from all of the side jobs, and then the bottom side of the map from all the side jobs, and then the top side of the map, and then I'll go back to the story. And now like I'm starting to get in that. Like whenever a fucking side job opens up in a part of the map where I had already cleared out, oh, this it's good anger, but I'm just like, no, I already did that. No, I don't want to go back there.
That kind of keeps popping up as you go through the main story, and then more stuff opens up, and there's no lack of stuff to do.
No, there really isn't, and that's the thing. Whenever fucking some said like, oh, the world is empty, it's shallow. I'm like, what? And then sometimes, honestly, for me too, like I won't even drive around. I'll just walk. And that's probably another reason why, like I'll just walk, like just to see shit. Now, obviously, it depends. I'm not gonna walk into a big like empty area like the Badlands or whatever, but yeah, I just walk, man. I'm like, hey, dude, because sometimes you find like some weird, cool shit in there, and then I try to prolong conversations as much as I can so I can know. There's like 1,000 shards, so it's kind of pointless to read them. It's too much. I'm not gonna even bother. So yeah,
too much.
Cyberpunk, baby. Mike, what's up, man? Doug? The only human in this world that's enjoying Cyberpunk on a base PlayStation 4.
Not that
I'm going to keep repeating that every week.
I know. I feel whenever I mention it, oh, man, you just remind me. I need to respond back to Leonidas. He was like, dude, your pictures, good pictures. It was like some cool, like dirt, samurai, like motorcycle pictures or whatever. And I was literally had you in mind. I was like, I'm going to mention those are on the base PS4, bro. But yeah, I don't see what the big deal is. Like, I understand that it's just like if you have a PS5 or anything better, you're going to play on it. I only play it because it's like a inconvenience thing or it's a convenience thing. My base PS4 is like on my big family room TV, and that's where I like to play Cyberpunk at night. I don't want to like sit in my chair and like be all uncomfortable or whatever. For hours on end. You reach hour 2, you're like, fuck this or whatever. But yeah, it runs pretty good, especially with those newer patches. I'm having a blast, dude. I'm having such a blast. So when video games really get to me and make me feel the vibe that I want to feel, which Cyberpunk is hitting those notes on the mark every time, I branch out into other stuff. So I branched out to see where Cyberpunk 2020 came from. And there's a version of it called like Cyberpunk Red or some shit like that. And it's like the previous version. I started watching Ghost in the Shell, which is a movie I've seen before. I told you that, Mo, earlier. Fucking RoboCop 2014, not the 89 version. But man, I want to go back and watch RoboCop 89 now. Just those whole, like, when did this idea of forming with technology come into entertainment business and stuff like that? And that's, the history of the idea of the creative side to it or whatever. And so I've been getting into that a lot. It was like a board game at first and shit like that. So yeah, just that's cool and interesting to me. There's a lot of books that I've never heard of that refer to that type of style, like Blade Runner and stuff like that, where it's just like, whoa, this is a whole genre of, storytelling or whatever. But dude, you watch Ghost in the Shell, man, and you're literally like, this is the Cyberpunk movie, but she's a cop instead of a nomad street kid or corpo. You know what I mean? Like, this is fucking cool. The idea of it's cool. The game itself, man, I'm really playing it how I play, like I played Red Dead Redemption and how I played The Witcher, which is kind of just, I'm just going to walk and whatever comes my way, I'm just going to do.
That's why my hours are up. I never do that. I hate open world games. Anyone who knows me knows that.
Yeah.
I'm just like, fuck it. There's so much shit here. I don't know, man. You nailed it, bro.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. There's a lot to do. There's a lot of different, the ways you can approach missions. I like that whole style where it's like you can approach it. I see a lot of people sniping and whatever, but I also see a lot of people doing the punchy things too. But I like how it is that survey the area, or maybe sneak around, find a door you can open because your tech is high. And like those little things about the game is, when talking inside of a game's boundaries, it does give you the ability to do things the way you want to do them, depending on how you're built. within the game's parameters, of course.
Yeah.
But I do think it does a good job of making everything, you can approach everything at some different way. And that to me, with an open world first person mindset, like I started thinking about like maybe Ghost Recon Breakpoint was doing something good. They just like fucked it up. They just didn't deliver it right. But the 4-player open world, like how they did that and like everything that goes inside of a game, like on a first person level or like a first person solo co-op or like a solo game, Cyberpunk does a lot, dude. It does a lot. And
it does.
Every turn, every hour, like I gotta force myself to stop playing and be like, I gotta go do real shit. You know what I mean?
Ainsley just said he's like Mike playing on that base PS4 like Cyberpunk 2077 Roblox edition.
I can't drive too fast though. That's the only downfall. I'm just kidding. It loads decent.
I think it's because of the loading, man, especially that fucking hard drive in that. Oh my god.
Yeah, my PlayStation runs
poor bastard. Yeah,
a little different. Not like normally loud. It runs like it still hums after you shut the game down, and you're like,
you know what, man?
I gotta touch it and stuff.
You know what it is, man? It's your inner Marine. I swear to God, you're like, you know what, bro? I don't give a fuck. I'm playing on this. This is what I got.
Dude, it is. It really is because it's just like I'm gonna take what I can get. Like,
I love it, dude. I love it
so many times. Like I'm gonna break my setup, like this setup down, and then use my 4K TV with my PlayStation Pro just to like get in there a little bit. But I'm like, I could stick it out until I just get it all together,
Damn.
But I mean, everything runs pretty good on my regular base. But Cyberpunk is not that bad. That's another thing where it's just like it's not that bad. It's not that bad to where I want a refund and then still expect to play the fucking game. You know what I mean? I've seen that, and it's just like it's
because you're actually listen. Yeah, we talked. I don't want to make it, dude. It'll be the third straight week we talk about Cyberpunk only. It's because you're actually putting time in, and maybe right now too, you're the benefactor of the fact that they've been working on it. I know there's been patches and shit. Like it's not to downplay, the shitty stuff that happened on the base consoles. No, not at all. But the thing is you're like one of those people who's diving into the game so deep, and you're just like, you know what, man? There is jank definitely, especially on the older ones, but there's so much fucking good that it just kind of sweeps everything under the rug, and that's cool, man. Honestly,
and I think one of the things is just because the day and age we live in, it's just cool to hate, man. It's cool to hate, and I get it. Like I want to. You're just be out there or whatever. But when Cyberpunk is coming, it's just like you can tell the hype of a video game is something completely different. We've talked about this before. It's just something that is like, does the game match up to it? And Cyberpunk was just one of those games, dude. By the way, Jordan, that is so fucking funny that you mentioned Deus Ex and Dishonored. Oh my God, I cannot believe you mentioned that. Mo, last night, bro, I downloaded Deus Ex Human Revolution. But I didn't play it, but I downloaded it because I had interest. And then last night I was watching that stealth gamer dude on YouTube play Dishonored, and I was like,
You never played Dishonored?
I played it, but I didn't get what it was trying to give me, and so I like nixed it, right? But last night I was going over it again. I'm like, this is like a BioShock game, but with like it's like Legacy of Kain, but with whoa, what the fuck? And I was like, I missed this. I was watching his stuff.
You did.
Yeah, he's so full. And I was like, I got to get out of this. I got to go back to Cyberpunk, dude. Like, I can't believe how much Cyberpunk has like grown this interest in other genres and stuff like that. Because I'm not a first person guy, really.
Like, but that's the thing too. Like after I finish, at some point, I actually want to pick up and play fully Red Dead Redemption 2. And The Witcher 3 once it gets to the next gen patch. You would have never caught me dead saying that a few
You've
weeks
never played Red Dead 2?
No, I played the intro section. I got up to Valentine, and then I stopped. And that's just, I know, man, I know. And that's why I keep saying, I'm like, look, man, if this is the game that starts to make me, but that's the thing, right? Like I'm mentioning Red Dead Redemption 2 and Witcher 3 for a reason, because those are rich. Right, the side missions and the side stories, from what I've been told, is rich. It's as rich as this. So if I can get those types of experiences in a different setting, I'm all for it. I still don't fucking like Assassin's Creed, by the way, and I have no intention of going back to it because it's all, blue and yellow and all that shit. Like I got to England and I'm like, all right, I'm done.
I literally had the thought in my head where I was like, I'm glad I didn't buy Valhalla.
Well, no, I mean, look,
I knew that I wasn't missing anything special.
It's a very good game, it's a very good game. But the thing is like in terms of offering this type of experience, I didn't get it in the first several hours that I had with it. So I don't know, Dan, what about you, bro? What's your comparison here?
You guys are going to hate me. Ames is really going to hate me. Here's the thing. I love the game. You know why? Because it hits every single note for me, right? It's Fallout 4 and a touch of, like New Vegas and a touch of, all these other games. With that being said, this game, and I loved it. I had a lot of bugs, but that was just, that seems to vary. So let's just throw that out the window. It's not that I didn't enjoy it. The story was really, really good. And I mean, you don't play 180 hours, right? And not enjoy your time. But, the critical eye of me looks at it and says, okay, to your point, Mike, you've got like the technical ability. Well, you might be able to hack this door open.
Sure.
You might have the body and you can smash this thing open, and then other than that, that's it. Or you find the third entrance. It's very binary. It's not as much of like an RPG. You look at like a mission that has all these different branches, right? You can do as many as you want. And Mike could have one playthrough. You could have another playthrough. I can have a different playthrough. But you're not locked out of that based on your build anyway. Right? So, but I go back and look at something like New Vegas, where you can miss out on like 3 different endings because your speech level isn't high enough. It's not as deep as I think.
I see what you're saying.
You know what I mean?
What you're saying, yeah.
Like from an RPG standpoint, from a action adventure standpoint, it's one of my favorite games. And I think I was looking for a little bit more depth, and I think originally, I went back and watched that 45-minute trailer, and I was like, damn, man, if they would have brought all of that, it would have. I mean, there would have been no game that ever compared to it, ever. But it's that. And the main story, while awesome, it's the whole Lego theory. You've got your set of Legos where, everything is kind of mapped out for you. Like the life, whatever they call the nomad, those don't even matter. I mean, you can just throw those out the window. There's just 2 hours of do whatever you want to do, aside from some dialogue choices that don't actually make a difference in the end. So that kind of stuff bothered me. I think I was looking. See, I got quite a bit in.
I think I
didn't like it. I
understand.
really did, because that's the kind of game I want. I want those big experiences. I want those. I was looking for some other stuff that I didn't get, and it's an amazing game. And I didn't cry out for refunds or anything like that. I don't care about ramps. Those are stupid complaints.
Oh
I mean, I
God.
think if you break it down, for me anyway.
Wait, what is this ramps thing? I feel like I'm missing it. What is this ramps thing?
Lucy O'Brien of IGN. I share that resentment.
Okay.
She bitched on Twitter why. Oh, so first she said she made 2 mistakes. Okay, first she said that Cyberpunk Capital insists on us investing into the cars, which
That's
is
dumb.
complete horse shit, because you don't have to buy a single fucking car. You get a lot of shit for free. Okay, the only car you have to buy, there's one mission in the beginning where it's like 4,000 eddies or some shit like that, or however much it was. You buy the first car and that's it. You're not obligated to buy anything else. You're not obligated to invest in anything else. But she said that
in the first playthrough.
She said the game insists on making you invest in the cars, which is not true. Now, I don't know what kind of investing she's talking about. If people want to get technical, investing or investing, emotional investing. You know what I'm saying? It's a bunch of bullshit at the end of the day. And then she said, she's like, well, and she piggybacked off that. And she's like, well, since you're investing so much in the cars, why not make basically everything fun and add ramps? Like, imagine fucking ramps like Burnout and Night City. Like, who pays these people? Who the fuck pays these people to give these kinds of opinions? Jesus Christ, man. It's insane.
It's terrible. That's a
anyway,
terrible take. No,
I get what you mean, though, Dan, about what you said, because that's also one of the things that I do feel like no matter the decisions that you make and the repercussions that you have are not as deep. So like they don't basically apply very much towards the end of the game. And with that, I do agree. Yeah, I agree.
That's the biggest thing for me. Like if you look at like Red Dead 2, you know, and it was kind of the same thing. You had this gigantic like open world that you could do pretty much anything with, and it was super immersive, and all these things happened that were just completely random, what it seemed like random anyway. And then you're, you know, decide what you want to do. All right, that's what I want to say. You know, if you're a dev, let me do whatever. Like if I want to shoot that person in the face, let's say I want to shoot Judy. No offense, Mo. Okay, like and as soon as I see her the first time, you know what? Make that happen. And then how does that change the story from here on out? Now that's, you know, maybe asking too much, but there are several instances where you could say, like for side missions, you could just kill somebody and you'll never get that side mission. But I can't. I've tried to like shoot people and it just doesn't even let me bring my gun up, you know? So in that kind of sense, you know, it doesn't do anything different than a lot of other games in that genre. And that's, like I said, not taking away anything from it. It's just what it is. And you know the branching, there really isn't a branching narrative necessarily. The meat of the story is the side missions and building the relationship with characters. You know, all those, you know, I'm not even gonna say who they are, but like all the characters that show up through the side missions, that's a really awesome part for me. That's the part I loved the most. But in the end, everything is gonna come down to, you know, like if as long as you play through all the side missions, you're going to have the same choices as I do at the end of the game for as far as for what you want to do. If it's different, it's very, very minor, you know. So and then there might be one end mission that, you know, you need to do specific stuff for. I have no idea what that is because I haven't got it. So
I haven't gotten this far into the game yet, obviously, but from what I know is that there's like these major choices that you have to make once you get to the end game.
Yeah.
So you're saying those will not have an effect on those will not have an I don't care. It's not like you're spoiling anything for me.
Assuming that you've done every side mission, you know, with
which I intend to do.
Then you'll have the same choices as I did when you get there, and they're all gonna. And so there basically is that what's different about them, I think, is, you know, how you get from point A to point B, you know, at the end. So that's going to change, but there's only 4 of those choices, and anything you've done prior to that, you know, there might be a couple things that change it, but you know, that it's not much. That's the biggest thing. Yeah. Like Ain says, 4 different prologues and a secret 5th ending. I don't know what that means.
There's 4 different prologues and a secret 5th ending. Do you mean epilogues or prologue? Oh yeah, well, prologues.
Epilogues, maybe.
Yeah, I think he meant epilogue. So yeah, from that, see, that's the thing too. He's right, you know, because there are different endings or whatever it is that's there, but I don't know, man. You know, like I hope it's not. I don't want it to be. You touched on something very cool, and it really was side missions, but it wasn't only side missions. Like for instance, like I'll tell you once we, you know, after. But so Ainsley sent me a picture the other day of this this dialogue tree. You know, when you first go to the Maelstrom, the first time you meet them, you're getting the flathead.
Right.
Okay. So I don't know if he showed it to you as well.
Yeah,
it's in the book, and I went and looked at it myself. But that was pretty fucking cool because depending on how you decide to play out that scene. That cool. Person can end up being in the game somehow and offering you. I don't know what kind of offers he's going to have for you, but he's there, or he may not be.
Yeah, that I saw. I know what he's talking about there. But if you've got 15 body and I've got 15 technical, it's not going to matter. the difference. There's no dialogue choices in there that you can make that I couldn't. That's what I'm trying to say. I mean, it's not, those are great, and yeah, they'll affect the story. How you do that mission will affect certain things, down the road, for like maybe one mission, or maybe two missions.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not. I'm always critical of the stuff I love. So
Oh, no shit.
I mean, it's hard for me. Like, I love Assassin's Creed. I loved it. And when I gave it a 7, first of all, I didn't hear the end of it, still hearing it. So point that out. 2, it was something that I wanted to be better than it was, because it's basically the same game I played last year, early year, 2 or 3 years, whenever Odyssey came out.
Right.
Or whenever Origins did. So I want to see those leaps. Like Red Dead 2, for me, I think for Ains as well, was a huge leap for the industry, for like, whoa, look at the,
Wow.
look at what you can do with all this time sunk into it. I think Cyberpunk is unfinished. I don't think patches are going to be able to help anything, unless, I mean, they have the hell of a patch. But I mean, they'll help out the, the bugs and the technical aspects and some other stuff like that. But you have to change. For me, you'd have to change the systems, to work. Make it an RPG. That's what I kind of was expecting, and I didn't get as much RPG as I wanted to. And that might just be my hype and my, personal preference. But it's still, an amazing game this year. That's the thing. I mean, they still did, for what they released, problems aside, it's still, I see what they were trying to do, and I saw what they were trying to do in, 2019, with that big demo, and I don't think they hit the marks. The stuff was missing. They cut back stuff, and I understand why they did that. It's the ambition is incredible. What they did with this game, like what they wanted to do and what they actually provided, I think were two different things, and I think they know that. And but that again, that doesn't take away like somebody's personal enjoyment of the game.
Of course, yeah,
not mine at all. Because I mean, I didn't waste damn near
180,
whatever the hell it is. It's insane. It's insane.
No, man, that's great. I agree with you. About some of the stuff that you were saying, but I still have to finish it. Obviously, I have a long way to go. But man, it's.
I mean, pay attention to the choices, and then I mean, you really don't start noticing it until you do that second playthrough, where you're like, well, this is different. This first, whatever it is, my life, whatever it is. I can't remember what the hell they called it. What they call those things? Your life choice or whatever the hell. Yeah. That's different, and that's awesome. And basically what that provides you in the long run are different side missions that you're going to access, and then also some different dialogue choices. But those dialogue choices are usually the blue dialogue choices.
Yeah.
Don't really matter that much, and they don't necessarily change too much. That's the thing. I think it's like I said, the ambition was there. I think they missed the mark on a couple things. Still great, but
I'm hoping at least that they'll be able to do some of that stuff in the DLC that they got planned. Just going off of what I've heard about Blood and Wine and how it's probably the greatest piece of DLC. If it's even a DLC, it's considered a fucking game, But yeah, so just based off of what I've heard, I mean, I have no. I think they'll be able to carry the deficiencies, not carry them over, but at least like iron them out more.
I think so. I mean, I have no doubt in 6 months this game is going to look a lot different. I think, and this is just a personal thing, but where the fuck is Trauma Team? I was like there was I got like really, I started looking at some stuff and I was like, where's, the Trauma Team stuff was basically that first mission. And then I didn't see anything basically the rest of the time unless I ran into him on the street. And so like stuff like that I think they wanted to have in the game, they just couldn't make it to that point. And whatever else they took out, I don't know exactly. But they cut some corners. They had to do what they had to do. But they still provided a really, really awesome experience, which is the bottom line. So I do not secretly like Lucy O'Brien. Are you talking to me? I do not. I think that's a stupid ass comment.
He said he's reaching on complaints for CP like Kareem Abdul working at IGN.
No, I have
I'm
a critical eye for these things. I will be as objective as possible. It's hard for me. Like I got super hyped with Anthem, right? We always talk about Anthem on the show. Like my hype level, I could not even defend it. I can't defend that stuff. When I look at it and I go, well, this one did it better. This one did it better. Now they took a lot of things like, I kind of talked to Ains about that. They put a lot of these systems in and they work together. Like some of the best things out of certain games, and
see, I can't look at things like that though. Like as hard as it is for me sometimes, I mean, so I never look at games, and I'm not a fucking reviewer or anything. I'm just telling you like how I look at games, right? When I play a game, I don't sit there and say like this did it better, right? I'm just like, all right, this is what I'm playing. This is what I have. This is what they did. And I'm not going to, because I fucking hate it when I used to read reviews and they were just like, well, in comparison to this, it's like, but bro, you're not comparing a comparison. You're not reviewing a comparison piece. What you're reviewing is this game and what it is and what they did with it and the design choices that they went. So review it for what it is. Subconsciously, you can always compare, obviously.
Well, there's got to be a baseline, right?
Yeah, but the thing is that's why for me, so when I look at Cyberpunk, to kind of piggyback on what you're saying, and we're going to dive into the news, I promise. But when I look at it, yeah, I see it. I'm obviously, I'm not blind. I see it and I'm like, okay, a lot of this shit has been done in other games before, but the way this game does it and puts it together for me is what separates that from the others, right? And that's really how I look at it. If this game, every fucking video game copies other games, right? 100%. Except for some games, when they do it, they just make it better.
Right.
They make it better. So, or at least they tie it together better to kind of suit you and your needs. And for me, for an open world game, I'm telling you, bro, this is like unprecedented for me.
It's
fucking, that, and that's really how I look at some of the games. Like for instance, like how long have I been telling you about Ghost Runner? Right. Ghost Runner, right? Yeah. Ghost Runner is fucking hard. It's probably the hardest game that I've personally ever played. It used to be Ninja Gaiden on the Xbox. This is harder. This to me was harder. But the thing is Cyberpunk world, great controls, amazing soundtrack, and the way they tied it all together with the parkour and the combat, and sometimes you have to string them together to finish a room. I'm like, oh my god, dude, I died 2,151 times. It keeps a kill counter for you. And you know what? I enjoyed every fucking death. And I'm somebody that will never play Dark Souls, Demon Souls. Dude, I have a brand new copy of Demon Souls on my fucking shelf I'm never going to open. I'm just watching Ainsley finish it for me, basically, like literally. It's so
he's me streaming Cuphead later tonight. Just shout out for,
Yeah, no, he is. Yeah, for sure.
I watched him play that game, and I'm like, I can't play that game and get past the first boss without the Elite controller and mapping my X button to a paddle where I just have to hold it down while I'm doing everything else. That's the only way I do it. I cheat.
But that's my point, man. It's crazy how some things, like, I hate difficult games. I just don't have the patience for them, right? But the thing is then this game comes along and I'm like, oh, well, I'm going to fucking finish this game. It's so weird, man, how things just tie in together sometimes. I love it.
Yeah, because 100%, man.
That's why I really truly believe that whole I really do believe that whole, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, man. What shit to somebody can be fucking great to someone else.
Yeah, so, and I don't want to, I'm not one to get on Twitter and take away people's enjoyment from it. That's why I haven't actually commented on it and actually have Cyberpunk, CDPR, and all that stuff blocked still, all muted, because I don't care. I know what I got out of it, and it was 180 hours of goodness, but to Ains' point, when he said in the chat, the problem is focus for CP, so everyone is kind of researching stuff now. A little bit, but they also are at fault for saying, look at what we have, right? And we got that big thing, like I said, at E3, and it showed off all this stuff, and then it gradually turned from that into more of an action-y kind of thing, which is fine, totally fine. I'm like I said, I love the game. Totally down with it. I love that people are enjoying it. If people are not liking it, that sucks. You got your refund. Move on. No need to sit here and make stupid comments about ramps.
And
know?
if you don't like it and you didn't play it, your opinion
Right.
means jack shit.
Yeah, if you put it, yeah. Like, I mean, I'll give you, if you put like 40 to 50 hours into it and you just play the main story, fine. You can have an opinion on that. You
Yeah.
cannot have an opinion on, if you're, it's like people watching other people play video games. You can't review a game by watching somebody play it. Like when Ames will stream Cuphead, I can be like, "No, that game sucks." No, because you don't know what it's like to have it in your hand. That's a huge different thing. You got to be able to experience at least some parts of it. Speak on what you know and what you played. Don't speak on stuff that is, out of your realm, and stuff that you didn't encounter because you chose not to encounter it. That's the biggest problem I have with people like that. It just drives me up the damn wall. It's insane. Whoa, excuse me. That was Monster Energy.
Let it out, bro. Let it out. Ainsley won't, I mean, you can't let it out on Seasoned Gaming, because you have the proud professor. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I remember having you on the show a little bit ago. We let it out. So
what's that? Oh shit! I can't hold up my shirt right now to represent SG, bro. It's all right, man. I don't even have the SG. Amazingly, I don't have the Season Gaming shirt on right now. I like fucking just I cycle all 3 shirts, and my wife is like, "Are you gonna wear something different?" I'm like, "No." They're comfortable. Leave me alone.
Literally, whatever is left on the like in the front hanger. That's how I roll. It's like, okay, what's today? Okay, that's fine. That's how I got so many damn shirts. It's insane. So. I don't even know what I've got on now. Your mom's house.
Now that we
yeah, Dan, you got some pretty dope shirts.
I gotta try, man.
Yeah, dude.
Yep.
Okay, so what I wanted to do is really kind of wing the show like we mostly do when we're doing live, just to talk about the news that happened, just not obviously not everything, the stuff that really just got annoying, like the game we were just talking about.
Yeah, we're good.
And then instead of just doing like top 5 or whatever, I really just, because there's so much shit that we like, and I just feel like sometimes you do a disservice to other games that you like by kind of doing it. Obviously, yes, if I'm going to sit here and say it, my game of the year is Cyberpunk. That's for me. And before Cyberpunk, it was going to be Ghost Runner. Amazingly, They're both set in the Cyberpunk world. That's what, fuck yeah. See, but anyway, but the thing is that's not to take away from the other stuff, because there's a lot of stuff that I enjoyed throughout the year as well. So to start, this year, it was nothing short on, on controversy and, just weird console launches. We've all gotten multiple consoles at this time. We've all been around for all the day ones and whatever. And I think this was unanimously, I would say this has probably been obviously for obvious situations aside, it's been the weirdest fucking year when it came to console releases, and to console announcements. For the longest time, Xbox came out and they really dominated the conversation in the media, in terms of goodwill with the customers and, and the fans and all the backwards compatibility stuff and whatever. And Sony just kept quiet. They didn't say anything. They were like releasing little, they were trickling information, and it was kind of really getting annoying. But at the same time, those motherfuckers definitely knew what they were doing, and it definitely seems like it. And that's not to say that Xbox's marketing didn't know what they were doing. But the thing is I think the lack or what happened is Xbox basically just blew all their load too early. They blew all their load too early, and what really ended up topping it off was the delay of Halo, and I think that's kind of like where things kind of, all the momentum that was going forward just kind of hit a wall at some point. And again, this is not to take away anything from the console or what it does. I fucking love the console. Everybody knows that. It's not to take away from whatever, but it is, at least that's the way I see it. And Sony trickling information slowly just led to a bunch of shit, that people were talking about. Oh, backwards compatibility. I saw some Twitter accounts, with the in the gaming industry, prominent accounts that are saying like, oh yeah, they're only going to have 100 games available for backwards compatibility. I'm like, they never fucking said that. They said that they were going to optimize 100 games from the PS4, or at least their top 100 games. to take advantage of the extra power, but they never said there was only going to be. Anyway, there was just a lot of misinformation. A lot of it had to do with on Sony's part as well, and a lot of it just had to do with impatience. And what did you think of that, bro? Was this a weird? Did you think this whole thing was as weird for you as it looked like, or did you think it was all just hyperbole or blown out of proportion? Honestly, because I thought it was pretty fucking weird.
The launch, I mean, yeah,
just everything leading up to it, man. The entire messaging and everything leading up to it. You know, I mean, we saw games. Look, man, it was so weird. Xbox, we saw everything leading up to the console, but games. Right. Sony, we saw everything. We saw all the games except for the console.
Yep.
So it's so strange how they ended up having these two different philosophies, you know, towards, you know, as they were marching towards the launch. And it worked out for the both of them, you know, but at the same time, like, I think people were just more, they were more critical of Sony's approach, you know, like, oh, they don't have confidence. They should have delayed. The cooling aspect is all fucked up and they had to go back to the drawing board. Everything you could possibly think of, you know? So did you ever think like that? Or were you just like,
I was just like, give me my damn consoles, man. That was my biggest thing. It was like, you know, yeah, I want to see games. You know, that was just their different philosophies. You know, I mean, you play to your strengths, and not trying to start anything. I'm just saying, you know, we've seen that Sony first party stuff. You know, last year was an amazing year for them. You know, with everything they put out. You know, so you're gonna talk that up. Obviously, you know, that's where you're gonna go to. You know, Xbox, you know, and their services, they talked up Game Pass a lot. They've added to it. They've done a whole bunch of stuff to make that experience better. You've got it on PC, you've got it on your Xbox, you've got cloud gaming now, and now, you know, you've got EA access, you know, that's included with your subscription. So and that's what they want to push, you know, and it's I know it's not quite like where it's profitable. I mean, but that was back in July when I think they said that, but you get them in there, and that's what they wanted, you know, and that's what they tried to do this year. Sony, I think, it was weird because like you didn't see anything from it until like August, when they had like their official reveal of what the console looked like. And then, you know, the thing is like a sale. The damn thing is humongous. So, you know, I think that was another part of it too, because you had Xbox where they had this like nice compact machine. Then you had the PlayStation 5, you know, and while I think it looks really cool, at least the digital edition, because that stupid disc drive looks dumb as hell. I don't care what you tell me, but it looks really sleek. It's just huge. It's humongous. So, I mean, I think maybe they were delaying that as long as possible. And maybe it was a hardware issue. Maybe, you know, we saw some people with issues. You had issues, you know. So, you know, it was a weird year. And then you've got, I mean, I hate using it, but it's COVID, and you've got that's throwing the monkey wrench into everything else too. So the whole year was just really surreal. You know, like we wanted, you know, back last year at this time, or, you know, whatever, the Game Awards, we saw the Xbox reveal, and then, you know, we went 6 months before, or 8 months really, I guess, until we saw the PS5, and you know, we saw what games were coming. We knew we were getting Spider-Man and you know, Sackboy and Ratchet and Clank at the time. You know, so plus they still had Ghost of Tsushima, and they still had The Last of Us 2 to come out. That was something completely different. It was a surreal year, and then the whole pre-order and ordering the damn things, you know, just getting them is a chore now. You know, I was lucky to get them. You know, and I know several people were, but there's a lot of people that don't have them still, and as much as they want them, you know, but with the whole bot thing, it's just been so weird, you know, not being able to go to the store. Many of them pick them up, like you had, you know, with like last gen, where you're able to go in there, you lined up, and you had, you know, everybody was like super excited.
That's what I did. Yeah.
I got one of my PS5 I got at GameStop.
So did I.
Yeah, so I
got one-on-one from there because I knew that it was going to be guaranteed, and I just got lucky because I had a friend who he manages one of the stores, so he gave me a heads up. Nice. He's like, hey, they're about to go. He's like, well, one of them I couldn't, but one of them I actually had to wait for the Series X. I waited online for 6 fucking hours from 5 in the morning until they opened at 11. But because I knew how shitty the launch was going to be, I'm like, you know what, man? At least this will be guaranteed. And thank God I had the day off the next day.
Yeah,
and I did it. And then
I think it was like Lord Cognito or something, or King David or somebody on Twitter is like, go to GameStop, right? Like when like Walmart like shadow dropped it, and they were like, oh yeah, we're gonna release it early, and everybody was like freaking out and like, what's happening? And then I think one person said, I just got 2 at GameStop. I like literally jumped in my car and drove over there and like, can I get 2? Yeah, okay, cool. And that was it. And like when I was in line, I felt a little bit bad, not really, but like a little bit, because like there was a guy that was like second in line. He's like, I'm picking one up today. I'm like, no, you're not. I said, I said, every one of them they have is on pre-order. No, that's not true, dude. I said, okay. Then I walked out of there too. And he's like, this is brilliant.
Oh shit.
So I mean, I didn't care. I mean, I usually don't care about other people. So I mean, like fuck them. I mean,
you can't, man. You can't. It's hard in that situation.
Fine. I wish you luck. And the bots are one thing that that's garbage. But
yeah,
God damn it, though everybody should be able to get one for sure. But don't be stupid. You're not going to show up on day in a year of a pandemic. You knew what was going to happen. But that was just a mess. That was super surreal. And then you had when Xbox launched, right? It was they told you the date, they told you the time, and then that it was still a mess, for a lot of people. Yeah. I was able to get one from Microsoft, so it was, I got lucky there. It's so weird the way the whole year played out, and I really hope whenever 5, 6, 7, 8 years from now, when the next console comes out, we're past that, and we have the stuff in place to prevent these kind of occurrences where people are buying them and selling for $1,500. That's a lot. Hey, make a couple hundred. I don't even care. Do what you're gonna do.
Scalping has always existed, but this is just fucking ridiculous, man. It's
gone
crazy.
To a whole new level.
Yeah. Yeah. Mike, what do you think, bro? I know you still haven't dabbled yet. You beautiful, patient, young man.
Yeah. I wish I would.
If I'm a degenerate, you're the complete opposite, Mike. This is why, man. Fire cold, degenerate, straight head on the shoulder. I love it, bro. This is why you and I are such good friends. Mike, what'd you think of all this, bro? From the outside.
All right, so there's a little bit of I don't know, man. Like, all right, so even sitting here now, I'm like still okay with not having next gen or whatever. It was crazy and it was over the top, I guess, because of like the pandemic and you can't go places and stuff. Gaming was it was more focused this year for me. Like even y'all talking about certain beats, I'm like, holy shit, that did happen. Like that's pretty crazy. Like usually you get your regular gaming news of releases and stuff like that. But when you got next gen consoles coming out, and if you can tell too, like there were some really, really solid games in the beginning of the year. And then once you started to get to like October, September, you know what I'm saying? It was like, yo, what happened here? On top of those developers trying to like get into the next gen, free upgrades. No, not free upgrades. You got to buy the entire game again. Not only do we got to render games for old gen, but we got to render games for new gen. That takes up time for development. Is this game finished? Cyberpunk Avengers also is like another game that I play quite often that is just like, man, you can kind of tell, but are those excuses? Like I can understand to a certain degree, because I'm not trying to sit here and say like, that's a bunch of bullshit. These devs should, have their shit together. Same with Sony and same with Xbox. They should have their shit together regardless of a pandemic or whatever, but it's just not the case. But I'm sure, though, that did have some sort of impact on it. And I think if it wasn't for the pandemic, dude, gaming would have been shining brightly so much more than it is already. Because I think regardless of all the kind of stuff that's happening, there's still very much good that came out of this year. Yeah. Like even just looking at the list of games that did come out, I am just like, oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Like some of the games that had series, like they're hitting hard. You know what I mean? When it comes to the generations, though, with the consoles, man, the scalping is just one of those things. You know how I am with that, Mo. It's just like you can't do shit about it unless you're going to go be a vigilante and like, break down their warehouses and stuff or whatever. Like that's not going to happen. It's their money. They can do what they want with it. It's just one of those things. Does it suck? Yeah. Should everybody be able to get one? Yeah. But that's just, it's just so much. It's just a mixed bag of shit. It's just like, I'm just gonna sit back and kind of take what I can get and be okay about it, kind of thing. I just saw some post somewhere where like Target's getting a case or like a load or a shipment of PS5s in. Like I saw a video of like Target employees taking them out back. So I was like, that's cool. I think stuff will start to speed up. Once we get into the springtime, the industry will kind of understand where they're at and what they're able to do in the circumstances that they're in. Unless like tomorrow or on a certain day where it's like, okay, pandemic, like that shit's done. All that lockdown stuff over with, like go about normal days. Even then it would still be weird for people because it's like, all right, we got to figure this out again. Going back into the studio, showing up to work every day. How many people are used to getting out of bed and getting on a Zoom call in their pajamas? Like coffee in hand.
I mean, really to go off of what you said, just look at all the games that have gotten delayed.
Yes, exactly.
Just because of everything that has happened. And ironically, this whole thing ended up resulting in probably the most financially lucrative year gaming has ever had because everybody's been sitting on their asses at home, right? Dude. But at the same time,
good point too.
That's all fine and dandy for all the people that have gotten into gaming and for everybody who was just bored and was just like, fuck it, I'll play video games. But for the enthusiasts like us who are actually always waiting for the next good thing to come out and whatnot, we're the ones that got screwed from all this because of everything that got delayed. So it's like a double-edged sword, man. It was like it was good in some aspects and just
that's what I mean.
We had our heart broken too a lot of times because there's just
if it wasn't for the pandemic, dude, it would have been crazy. It would have been awesome for gaming. The whole vibe, the whole what's going on. Like this is next gen. This game's next gen. You know what I mean? Like,
but here's the thing,
man. It would be so good.
But okay, so if the pandemic didn't, let's look at Halo Infinite, for instance, since this was another thing that we were going to talk about, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so now they said when the game was first revealed, they said, COVID, the pandemic, whatever, it hit us hard this year, blah, 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 and we're going to end up delaying it and whatnot. So if this was a normal year and everything was fine and Xbox showed the game in August the way that they did, would we have gotten the same response? Right? Because here's the thing. It's one thing to delay. It's one thing to delay a game because of. It's one thing to be behind in development because of the fact that the team is not together, or the team is not, the team is not collaborating the way that they do. But it's another thing in a situation like Halo where, dude, they had to like not go back to the drawing board, but they had to fucking restructure everything. So. That's the thing, man. It's so strange, right? Like I always that's why I said it's a double-edged sword. There were some things that were exposed because of the current situation that happened for the better, for the better. And there were some things that just, it didn't pan out properly. So I don't know, man. Craig, I don't know, dude. It's just, it's really, there's a lot of nuances here. I feel like there's just a lot of nuance in terms of like what's
see, because that's the thing, Mo, I want to mention as well. Like that's a big thing for Avengers, and because I'm because I'm balls deep in that game. Nice. Like, yeah, sometimes I'm like, oh, should I be PG-13 or should I just fucking go for it? Anyways, so like a lot of pandemic talk is about that game too. But then I'm like thinking, so what was going on before then? You're releasing all this kind of promotional shit for games.
Yeah.
But then when it came out it was supposed to come out in May. Now it was delayed to September. Same thing with Cyberpunk, delays, Halo, huge delay, like what was going on during that time? Did y'all really start on it when y'all said, or did y'all just come up with some good shit to show people and be like, yo, and then we're going to really lock down in the beginning of 2020, late 2019, and we'll pump it out in November, or we're going to pump it out in May. and then the pandemic hit and it threw you off that much? That's a question that goes around Avengers a lot.
Yeah,
Did it
I
throw you
don't.
off that much? Developing a game for 5 years, some say 7, whatever. Where was going on? Even 3 years of gaming, because I know
Yeah.
God of War was made within 3 years or some shit like that.
No,
Is
5.
that true? 5?
5,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. So let's just say but I know that there's good games that are made within 3 years. You know what I mean? Where it's just like, that's why people always come to the conclusion where it's like, is the pandemic an excuse for these people? And I'm just like, I'm sure that it is in some cases, but I'm sure that it did have some effect in others. But it's one of those things where I know for a fact, if I was some head honcho dude in the gaming industry and I didn't give a fuck about anybody else, like we're talking about, I would use that as an excuse. Like, oh yeah, guys, like fuck, we didn't do it because of the pandemic. And that's the shitty side. And that's the shitty side.
It's all about the development cycle, right? Like how much is on the back end. Now if it's a lot, I don't know anything about developing a game. I'm going to tell you right now, I have no clue, none whatsoever. But if developing a game is like back end heavy, then this stuff might make sense.
Okay.
But I would think that you'd have a ton. Your base game should be there. Most things should be fixed out, or ready to go. I mean, even CDPR told us that thing was ready. We're just fixing bugs. And so if that's the case, and that's a huge game, though. I mean, it's not as, the Avengers is a much smaller,
right,
as far as that goes. But, that's still a pretty substantial delay, going from, what did you say, May to September. So if it's all back end stuff, fixing bugs and stuff, and that's a normal thing, then cool. But I don't know for sure. So it's hard for me to comment on something.
Would you guys rather have devs be super open to you and be like, this is what's going on and this is kind of, or would you rather have them just kind of be silent and be like, no, y'all are going to wait for it. It doesn't really matter because we're the one producing the content. Like,
Dan, what do you think about this? Because I have something too. What do you think?
It depends on what you're trying to do. If you're like, I hate delays. I'll be the first one to tell you I can't stand them. Especially when you tell me that something's ready and it's not. Or that it's just this or it's just these minor things. That's garbage. Like don't tell me that stuff and then come out and have some kind of absolute stuff isn't finished or it's not, like an end game like Anthem or something is not complete. There's nothing there, right?
Right.
So that kind of stuff, the biggest issue is with these devs, saying this stuff is that they've seen all this stuff. They've seen it all 100 times. You've seen poor releases. You've seen good releases. You've seen how, what to do and what not to do at this point. And even, in a smaller scope, this year, you've kind of seen some of these games come out and not taking away from the games, because I had a hell of a time coming up with my top 5 games this year. There were so many good ones. That's the biggest thing. It's fucking Lego Star Wars. God damn it. But I mean, it's there's so, with Halo, I'm glad they're going back and finishing it and doing whatever they have to do. I think we might have talked about this on SG where they knew that this stuff wasn't going to be ready, probably far before they released like the gameplay trailer that they did with Craig. They knew this stuff was not there yet. Just don't lie. That's my biggest thing. If you want to come out and say, hey, it's going to be done when it gets done. This is what we have right now. All right. Not finished, and don't set a date, to say it's coming out, sometime, I mean, if you want to if you can hit that specific, even like it's coming out Q3 of 2021, if you can hit that, great, then make sure you hit it and make sure you have a quality product. That's what I think gamers want, especially guys like us who, have so much invested in the hobby. Mm-hmm. So, and that's fine. Surprise us. Shadow drop a game once in a while.
Yeah, that's what I love those. I love those, dude. Yeah, I love it.
don't even say anything. Just be like, oh, by the way, it's ready. Controller, just be like, yeah, you can download it today. No shit. Boom. I'm all over it.
Yes.
That would be awesome. Now, I don't know if you can do that, with a game the size of like Halo or Cyberpunk, or I don't even Avengers to that point, but it's just get it finished, and at this point I'm kind of flipping from the I hate delays to like just finish a damn thing, because there's always stuff to play. You got the Backlog Chronicles. I mean, this is what I do, and I got so many games that I have to finish.
Fucking
or
shit,
games that you'll never play.
shit.
Right. It's just I've downloaded so much, and I'm never ever gonna finish everything. But I'm with the devs. I want them to put out the best product they can. Obviously, but just be honest with us. Have one guy that's like goes around and be like, how are you doing? Cool. All right. I'm going to go over here and talk to this guy. Boom. Okay. One dude. You don't need a team of VPs, deciding what's going on. One guy, quality control, or just at least, just knowing what's going on at all times with everything. Don't delegate to these people because they don't know shit. All right. Just, you need to know the one person, and then you make that decision. That's it. And everybody else can kiss my ass. That's how it should be, I think.
Now the thing, there's two ways of looking at this, about transparency that you're talking about, Mike. I feel like nowadays, especially with everything that's been going on, it's starting to move forward into that territory. You're seeing it with at least with Anthem 2.0, how every time there's an update, they update us, and even with Halo. But at the same time, I like the transparency that they're giving to people, but sometimes transparency can also, again, Cyberpunk, right? Yeah. All we've seen is the PC version, and all they've showed in in the Night City Wires and whatever. That wasn't necessarily really transparency. It was more about explaining the game itself, right? But the thing is then I look at studios like Naughty Dog. Naughty Dog has a pretty good pedigree. However you feel about their games are still regarded as pretty fucking great. So they don't do that. There's no transparency with them. They're just like, hey, man, this is our studio. This is what we do. Fuck your transparency. You're going to see what we do when it's done. Right?
I love that.
So, but it's the truth, though. And at the same time, despite the fact that games like Cyberpunk and Avengers and Anthem are what is really causing this shift to go into that transparency direction. Right? Yes.
Roadmaps.
But there are going to be. Hey, hold on, bro. Forget why we're only talking about I'm sorry, with Naughty Dog. What about Rockstar? When the fuck does Rockstar ever give us any? Rockstar's just like, no, bitch, you're gonna buy our game. You're gonna play our game. You know what I mean? So they know that they know at least the transparency, despite everything. I don't know, dude. It's a double-edged sword. Hey, Dan, we almost lost you there, man.
Yeah, but that was my bad.
I kept talking, man. I went with the flow, man. I didn't just stop.
You're good. I don't know what the hell happened there.
No, so basically, all I was saying is like, it's nice to see that transparency, and because of the recent fuck ups that have happened in the last couple of years, that's the direction that we're going to. But at the same time, I like the studios that are so confident that they're just like, you don't need to see shit, man. We'll show it to you when we're ready. So
I think I almost wanted to add on to that, Mo. It kind of sparked a little idea in my head. You kind of started seeing that game, the pre-release of a game, the hype of it is a lot nowadays. Like it was a lot back then as well, but I think nowadays any dev or any kind of publisher drops any type of news, a YouTuber is on that stuff. They're on that stuff and they want word to spread. I just found this out, and I know why Avengers lost so much fucking money is because, dude, they put so much promotional stuff out that not even I, as a comic book fan, want to even keep up with. Because to me, it's just so far outside of the gaming realm where it's like, did y'all really try that hard? Like, are y'all trying to make this? I think Cyberpunk kind of went that direction too, where it's just like, I'm not trying to cook my pancakes in a Cyberpunk pot and pan, I'm just trying to play the game and like kill some chooms or whatever. Like, I'm not really tripping on all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? But it's just like one of those things where it's like that's the internet for you. So on one hand, Death Stranding, I've mentioned that before with you, Mo, where it's just like, man, the hype was so big of a game that it messed with the game of what it is.
Yes.
You know, it gave an idea to people what it was supposed to be because it was so hype. And then when they played it, it was just like, oh, it's just a video game.
Yes.
You know, all these fools that were talking so big, like Death Stranding is going to like fuck my soul up and all this stuff. Like, I don't see them talking about Death Stranding anymore. Nobody talks about Death Stranding anymore.
They all talk out of their asses, dude.
That's
yeah. You know what I mean? And and it's stuff like that where it's like, that's the day and age where it's the internet. You know what I'm saying? So whenever people like, I seriously on Reddit threads, man, people are like demanding roadmaps from Crystal Dynamics. I'm like, bro, I don't know what you see, but you're not going to get that. Like, you're asking into open space, bro. Like, how do you not see that they do not have their shit together? You know what I mean? And they're just like, gee golly, I don't get a roadmap. It's just like, bro, like, are you not seeing the formations of what's happening here? You know, obviously, there's stuff that's fucked up with it. You know what I mean? But I saw this thing. I'm sorry, I'm going off on a little bit here. I saw this thing today where it was like, I'm so happy Twitter can like break the wall down of like age and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, that's cool and all. But when you got a young person talking, especially a young, like, just think about a young 16-year-old kid who loves comic books that want to play Avengers. And he's on the internet talking like his opinion is the shit, or like is the bee's knees. Like, this is word. This is what you guys should have because I want it. And I'm just like, I cannot get behind that. And so I wonder a lot, man, like, where it's like, what are these people like? How are they viewing this? And that's kind of one of those things where it's like, that's why Twitter's hard, because you can't really explain, you know, all the things that you want unless if you're making a huge fucking thread or whatever. But it's just like, to me, man, the experience in gaming is like obviously how you can tell what is going on within the gaming world. And then if you know what's going on, you're not going to ask those stupid ass questions. Sorry. You know, I see a lot of that, man. And that's like the whole thing. I refund Cyberpunk and I don't get to play it anymore.
Oh my God.
What do you think the refund
What a
is,
fucking moron, dude. Oh my God. Oh my God.
And I get clicks and I get the whole clickbait and all that shit. I get it, man. But at the end of the day, dude, that is what is influencing younger gamers to not only act like that, but to think like that as well. And whenever they don't have an idea of what it's like to get up, walk into the office and say, "What's up, boss? This is what I got for you today. I'm going to go bust my ass for 6 hours on a single computer working on one punch animation for 6 fucking hours. Where's my roadmap, dog?" I don't know, bro. I need to make the combat first before I even, you know what? I don't know. It's just one of those things where it's just like, what were you talking about? What were you saying, Mo? Fuck, bro. You got me.
That's what we do, bro. You're just always fucking just jumping from one thing into the next.
It's good, man. That's a good time.
Absolutely.
Yeah. 2020 overall was good. I would say, for gaming. I look at games like Darksiders Genesis and I'm like, holy crap, that Dead series has got some life in it, which in turn, I hope it spurs on to a Darksiders 4, Darksiders co-op after that. I feel like that has good potential. Neo 2, Resident Evil 3, Final Fantasy 7 remake, didn't play but loved. Here's a game I kind of want to talk about real quick. Predator: The Hunting Grounds.
No.
Hang on. Okay.
Deep.
Did you try that?
My buddy got it, and I like the idea of Predator and all that stuff. I'm a big Predator fan, but it's like, it's games like those, Terminator Resistance as well, where it's like, dude, you got these good IPs and you are fucking them up because you want to put them in some shit cheap game or whatever. And it's like,
but that's what happened. But that's one of the things with Avengers, right? Why were people so disappointed? It's just like, you have one of the biggest fucking brands in the world. You could have done so much with it. And then you end up making it that flat. Like I said it before, man. Look, Crystal Dynamics is a great studio. No, hold on. You didn't let me finish. The Tomb Raider games were fantastic. Let's not lie to each other. They were very good. But this was not the game for that studio. They were way in over their heads with this game. This franchise and this IP should have been given to somebody else. Somebody else with more experience with this kind of shit should have done it. That's what I meant. I mean, the studio is very good. Okay, yeah, I said great. They're a very good studio.
Right.
But this was not the game for them.
Right.
They should not have made this game. And that's the thing. It's like your imagination starts to go to places depending on, on what's announced, and
Exactly.
this happens. And
It's
And then you
weird
got
because this year
studios
we
like
got
Capcom. Go ahead.
yeah,
Sam.
Capcom. Yeah, I mean we had like you take Avengers for example. You have was it Crystal Dynamics that did it?
Yeah,
Or whatever. Yeah, so they did the Tomb Raider series. Totally different game.
totally.
Single player game, fantastic game. Or whatever which ones they did. I can't remember exactly which ones, but they were great, right? And you look at something like BioWare, then and they've got these Mass Effect games, the Dragon Age series, Baldur's Gate early on, incredible role playing games, amazing fun games, and they go to Anthem and they're like, oh, we're gonna make some money. That's what I think the problem is. It's like they're trying to find these ways. They see what how gaming is going with like these games as a service, or just trying to get as much money out of the person as possible. But then but you can change, you can try different things. And I think what a game that proved that this year was Yakuza. You have Ryu Gataku, whatever the hell they're called. I should know that, but I don't.
Ryu Gataku.
Yeah, it's there's the ones that did the Yakuza series. They did all these games. They're all the same. They're beat 'em ups, but they're great story. But all the mechanics are the same. They came out this year. They said, "Oh, we're going to make a JRPG, a turn-based JRPG, completely go away from what we normally do," and they killed it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like you can do these things. I think you can. You just got to take incremental steps. You still had the great story and the great the humor of the series, but you just went a little bit different. You don't have to completely go do a 180 and try something completely different. There are other like you guys said, devs that could have probably taken that IP. And I love Marvel. I'm a huge comic book fan for most of my life, and it was a shame. I did enjoy my time with it because but just a side note, 2020, fuck Troy Baker. I'm just going to put that out there. I hate that dude. I just want to get that out real fast. But otherwise, I love the game.
Is there no one else? Is there no one else?
Listen, I know you and your love for Tom Hardy also. We got to talk about that sometime. Because that guy doesn't know how to talk. And he can't, he sounds like he's got mother's the entire time. I don't care what. Show me. He's terrible. He's a terrible actor. Anyway.
Oh no! It's, where are you, man? Back me up here.
Don't even get me started with that dude. I can't stand him. But it's you can see these studios and they can do different things, but they can't. It seems like they try to do too much at one time. Look at you were talking about Naughty Dog. They didn't really say much. Who else didn't say much? Sucker Punch. And then Ghost of Tsushima came out. I had no idea. I was like, oh man, I saw this like 2018 at E3. They had all the
written off.
Fallen, right?
It was written off.
Nothing. And he was like, oh, we're delaying it. They delayed it once or twice. It's like, okay, whatever. And then I was like, the hell with this shit. Whatever. I'll get it when it comes out. It looks cool. And then it blew me away.
Yes.
Now they changed the game, but that they put out a really solid game.
Yes.
I had no idea. That was my surprise of the year, really. I wasn't expecting too much from it, but they took very familiar tropes with that game, and they took very familiar systems and made their own stuff.
Yes.
And it was an amazing game. So I mean, I wish the Avengers had been done by somebody that had more experience. To Mike's point, with those kind of games. I don't know who that would be. Maybe. Who the hell did Division? I mean, I love those games. Ubisoft with whatever. Somebody that's done those kind of games before that could implement those systems. With the loot and the end game, and do all that stuff. So, God damn it, Mike, you love Tom Hardy too. God,
I do, bro. I get people,
sorry, man.
I hate him so much. Every time he talks, all I hear is blah, 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 blah. That's it. Like Bane was that was the best sounding Tom Hardy that I've ever heard in my life, and he was through a mask. I was like, wow, I can really understand him in this movie. He's actually not that bad. He still sucks, but he's not Mad Max. So That's just there's like 3 or 4 people on this planet that I just don't like. Like I take it back. There's thousands and thousands of people I can't stand, but like very specifically, Tom Hardy, Troy Baker. Shout out. Hopefully you never get them on your show, but those 2 dudes can eat it because God, what is this Hardy love?
Yeah, man, I was about to tell you, dude. Hardy's the man, bro.
Oh, so bad.
Get on that train, Dan.
All right, so here's the comparison story real quick about Tom Hardy.
Oh,
all right. So I was like 24 or something, and I was at like the bar club or whatever with my buddies, and he would always like make fun of me, like, you Tom Hardy looking motherfucker, and like people would even say I look like Tom Hardy or whatever. And we were walking out of the club, and this girl. It was this girl, but she was with her dude and a couple friend, so it's 4 people overall. And she said, "Oh my God, is that Tom Hardy?" And I looked right at my buddy and I'm like, "You motherfucker, like you're telling these people to like fuck with me, basically."
That's hilarious.
But I was like looking at that, I'm like, wait, y'all don't know each other. And they were like, "Oh my God, Tom Hardy." And I'm like, get me the fuck out of here right now.
Signed everything. You should have been like, "Yeah, I'll sign your boob."
It was just so weird, dude. It was just so weird. Anyways,
that's hilarious.
Dude, actually, yeah, man. Because when you sent me that, when you showed me that picture once, when you were serving, and you're in your uniform, yeah, fuck. You had more heft on you, so you definitely did kind of look like Tom Hardy. Now that you mention it, oh shit.
Yeah, I was like,
yeah, oh yeah.
I don't know. That's my bad, guys. I'm sorry. Went off track a little bit.
It's all good. It's all good, man. You just have to apologize to the rest of the chat that just doesn't agree with you. Right now.
It doesn't matter.
There's also some games on the side I thought 2020 did really good, and I hope to see more of. Battletoads and Streets of Rage were like 2 of the games that I didn't play personally that I wanted to play. You know what I'm saying? But
we're gonna get to that. No, we're gonna get to that because Streets of Rage is one of my babies. Anyway, yeah, man. So just all the shit we've talked about, and then obviously, just not to retread. There's Microsoft's acquisition of Bethesda, which I pretty sure I could say along with everybody else, it all just fucking blew us away. And I love what just a big dick move that was by them. They were just like
BTE
7.5. We just spent $7.5 billion.
Oh yeah,
business as usual. I mean, that was just it was phenomenal, and obviously it was a sign of how serious they were for the future. And it's not just to listen to gaming Twitter, but just in general, that was just basically an acknowledgement that their lineup needed to be beefed up for sure. Their studios needed to be beefed up, and they needed to be put on. They needed to also put themselves on that pedestal. And I don't consider anything before the acquisition Xbox. It's what's after. Everything that comes after is what's going to be graded. So anything that was before, yeah, hey, cool. It's good. It's going to be owned by them. It's going to be on them, but still, that's not an Xbox game. Everything moving forward will be. So I think that's fantastic. And you know what, man? I think what also got lost in it too is this to me was also a sign of them just like not just being serious about gaming in general, but to like all the fucking fanboys that just kept saying like, well, Xbox isn't competing with Sony. They're just competing with Stadia and Amazon. I'm like, bro, yeah, okay, that's cool. That's all fine and dandy. But where the fuck is Stadia and Amazon right now in terms of like I get it. You guys are talking about as corporate giants. They are competing with these people. No arguments there. But make no fucking mistake about it. When it comes to gaming, nah. You're buying these studios and you're forming this quadruple A studio to make a quadruple A game. Why? So you can compete with Amazon and Stadia? Get the fuck out of here, bro. You know what the hell you're bringing in. I love it too, man. Oh, did he? Who said that?
Phil. That was Phil. He came out and he said, we're not competing with Sony anymore. We're competing with Amazon.
That's a bunch of bullshit, though. Then why make all these advancements? Why make all these big dick moves? Like, oh shit, Mike is gone. There he goes.
I hit a button.
No, Phil said that. I don't know when, maybe a year ago or something. But that's what he said. It wasn't. But yeah, you don't come out. You're still competing, right? You're beefing up your service with.
Of course, you are.
You're trying to push that. And I see the rumors with the Ubisoft Plus. and all that stuff. All rumors. But that's how you get people into your service. That's how you get them into your
Absolutely.
ecosystem.
Absolutely.
And
Oh yeah.
that's what you're trying to do. I totally understand that. I don't know what's going to happen. 2 to 3 years from now. And that's I'm good with it actually because I know I've got Game Pass for I don't even know how long. So I'm good. I'm good.
I love it, bro. It's amazing. Like, and that's the thing, like, just people got caught up in all that, and I just thought that was hilarious. I'm like, okay. I love Phil Spencer, by the way. I think he's very good at what he does.
Yeah.
Obviously, considering that he's in that position, and he's continuing to move everything forward, and he's dude, literally, the only thing they have left to do is bring that fucking library that everybody has been craving. That's right. It. Everything they have done. Everything they have moved in the right direction. They're moving everything. You want studios? We got them. You want games? We're making them. You want backwards compatibility? We're on it. Our hardware is the best. Our controllers, we're bringing it. So that's it. That's what everyone is waiting for. And at the end of the day, as pretty as it can be, as pretty as everything can be, that is what's going to be your bread and butter. That is what's going to put you on that. That's what's going to basically be like, hey, bro. Like there's just absolutely no reason to there's no reason to invest in another brand. Obviously, degenerates like us will, but I'm talking about the ones who just want one thing, right? Like there's also that market too, because there are people who are out there who can only either afford one console or who just want one console, and with Game Pass itself, that's the thing, bro. With Game Pass itself, you're making it so much harder for the for somebody to invest in the competition. So imagine beefing that up. And just bringing a richer library. And even if they increase it, even if they go up on the price of Game Pass to $20, it's still fucking worth it. It's still going to be the best deal. You know what I'm saying? I'm paying $19 a month right now for Netflix. So you're telling me $20 a month for Game Pass is not going to be as worth it? Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah. Here's the thing, and to be fair, we've been kind of saying this, and I'm a huge Xbox guy. Or I have been, we've been saying this for years. It's coming. And then we got Crackdown 3. All right, it's coming. But then we got Gears 5, and you started kind of in like Forza Horizon 4, and you're like, oh, there are some games. And I know that's part of the big 3 or whatever. I don't care. They were amazing games, right? So that's the biggest thing. That these studios are going to be able to produce, right? Bethesda has a track record, as they have certain track record, but they But you look at it's ZeniMax, it's Dishonored, it's Prey, it's all these other games that people don't like to talk about. They've got Obsidian, which I think is their best studio for me. Just looking at what they've got coming, and the Outer Worlds was amazing, and that's about coming out. Those I see what they're doing. Fable is coming from Playground. The guys that do Forza, Horizon.
Yes.
So
yes.
I mean, it's coming.
And that's,
but at the same time, we still haven't seen it. Like it's not like going like Fable could be shit. It could be complete shit. I don't think it's going to be.
No.
But we don't know because we don't have anything, aside from 2 or 3 games to go. Okay, well, in the last couple of years, this is what we've got, right? And as a person that's been invested in both consoles, I understand where people can kind of get like, and I just want to see the proof. Just give me what I want. I'm paying for this Game Pass. Give me something. Give me those first party games. That's why I got it. I didn't get it for 23 different indies and games that came out, 2 years ago. Sure. I want those first party games. I want Gears of War. I want Halo 5 or Halo Infinite. That's what I want. Perfect.
Diego, just to answer your question, about hypotheticals and whatever. Here's what I mean, right? Let's take this year, okay? You can't compete in this year. Let's just talk about this year alone, right? Final Fantasy VII, The Last of Us 2, Ghost of Tsushima, Miles Morales, and Demon's Souls and Sackboy, right? You can't compete with these just with Flight Simulator and Ori. As incredible as those are, no, those are on the 2 completely opposite ends of the spectrum. I'm not talking about you have to do the Sony over the shoulder third party. I enjoy those, you know. I mean, I enjoy all fucking games that are third person. So whatever formula is there, yeah, fine. But I enjoy them all. But that's what I mean, Diego, is like bringing these making your studios bigger and offering more variety that are more on par with what the competition is bringing, because I want that so fucking bad, right? And that's exactly what I mean. It's not, you know, to say like, no, man, I listen, dude, if you've been listening to me and you've been hearing us, whatever, this whole Xbox has no games bullshit, I fucking hate that crap. And I never, ever fucking talk about it. And I never, whatever, but I'm more practical when it comes to that. This is what I mean. If you're looking at like just this year alone, you can't expect to compete with just Ori and Flight Simulator as your beacons. Yeah, I get it. Gears 5 is incredible. It's one of my favorite fucking games, you know, of the generation, no doubt.
Hell
you know,
yeah.
but as great as the DLC, for as great as Hive Busters is, still that's still DLC for a game that came out 1 year ago. You know, so that's what I'm talking about. So just to make you understand more of what I'm coming about. This show is not fucking tailored towards Xbox, PlayStation. I don't fuck around with that bullshit, bro. If you want a centric show, get the fuck out of here. Like I don't do that. You know, like we keep it real, and that's pretty much what I meant. So, anyway, yeah. So I don't know where Dan is, but I was just gonna talk about we've already talked about Cyberpunk. I'm not gonna even mention it anymore.
Right,
The Bethesda acquisition. It's all done.
you.
Honestly, dude, we can fucking even dive into the games now, man. Or the last thing we can talk about. You know, I just wanted to see what Dan's opinion was The Last of Us 2, right?
Oh
And,
yeah, Dan.
no,
We'll
yeah,
get it back.
hold me
Last
here.
of Us 2. I'm down to talk about some Last of Us 2, Mo.
No, the only thing is you know, the way that it's been discussed so many times, I don't want to even dive back into it about the controversy and about, you know, how whatever.
Yeah.
But you know, for me, I still deeply believe that the game itself, despite how you may feel about it from a narrative perspective, I think it got royally fucked when the leaks came out, because there was so much hype and anticipation for the game itself. And I think when the leaks came out, despite some of them being true and some of them not being true, you know, I think when the leaks came out, it took a lot of wind out of the sales of the game. And I think people judged the game for what it was way early on. And that's what ended up causing this mass controversy. Like even to the point now where when it's discussed, if you want to talk about it on Twitter or whatever, you're always going to expect some type of fucking asshole to chime in. And this is whether you hate it or like it, right?
Yep.
And this really, and I called Cyberpunk the other day, you know, even like when the whole controversy started coming out about it, I'm like, this game is reaching The Last of Us 2 levels, to the point where if you start to talk about a game, you're going to expect some type of backlash, or you're going to expect some type of fucking discourse all the time.
Yes.
And The Last of Us 2, once again, I don't care if you hated it. I don't care if you loved it. Me personally, I really, really liked it. You know, it was a little long. It was a little long. The pacing was off, but at the end of the day, however you may feel about about one of the main characters and what happened, I personally thought it was fucking fantastic because they had the balls to do it, even if you don't agree. That's what I got from it. And just everything else that they showed, that they tried to whatever. And I'm not the type that's just like, oh, you have to understand the message in order to like it. Like, no, bro, you know, you can't expect it. Like, it is what it is at this point. You know, if you played the game and this is what you thought of it, and I respect your opinion, that's fine. It doesn't fucking matter to me at the end of the day. I got what I wanted to get out of the game, but the whole point is it's really fucking shitty what happened to it, you know, with the leaks, because I think the impact of the game itself would have been hit much fucking harder.
That is true.
It would have hit much harder had everybody had the game in their hands on day one and saw that, and you would have fucking saw Twitter just go insane. And I do think that the prejudgment of the game itself, because of the leaks, affected that. I don't care how well it sold. The game sold great. Yeah, it's critically acclaimed, awards. Who gives a shit about that? I'm talking about at the end of the day, what led up to what happened with the game, I thought was really shitty for it, you know, because it took a lot of the wind out of the sails. And I think the benefactor of that fucking controversy and discourse, make no mistake about it, was Ghost of Tsushima. And the reason why is because everybody gathered around the game after having such a shitty June where every time The Last of Us 2 is discussed, somebody's screaming, somebody's yelling, somebody's whatever. And then this game comes out of nowhere. And that's not to take away anything from Sucker Punch. It was a fucking incredible game, which a lot of us agree to. But it just, the impact of Ghost of Tsushima was just harder.
Much more.
When it released. Why? Because it followed the trail of this shitty fucking month full of discourse, like I was just saying. And you had Xbox fans, PlayStation fans, pretty much almost the entire media just treat it like the darling that it is. And I think it was nice to see a game that a lot of people rallied behind that just wasn't so divisive, you know, where just there wasn't that many opinions about Ghost of Tsushima. It's either you adored it or you thought it was okay,
or you didn't play.
There's not. If you say Ghost of Tsushima is a bad game, okay, I can't look at you with a straight face. Okay, if you thought it was average, that's fine. But if you say it's a bad game, to say a game has to be bad, like it has to be really bad. You know, if you don't like the narrative direction of a game, that doesn't make the game bad. If you don't like the game I'm sorry, I just don't agree with that. That doesn't mean the game is bad. You know, it's just you didn't like it, and that's it. If I didn't like a game, I'm not going to say it's bad. I didn't like Assassin's Creed Valhalla. You will never fucking hear me say the game is bad.
Right, exactly.
You know, like it is what it is. So
understand that it didn't fit my whatever I was trying to do or trying to get out of it. Just to hit on your Last of Us thing real quick, Mo, it's just like a spoiler, man. It's just like a leak. When you get it told in your face, slapped on, no build up, just, you know, straight to the load or whatever, you know, it's gonna hit you different. It's gonna taste different. It's gonna be like, yo, what the fuck is
Can
going
you
on
imagine? Can you imagine if that didn't get leaked?
So
and people had it in their hands
I like
without
that a lot.
knowing that? Holy shit, bro.
And that's the thing too. It's not really about the message, because the message honestly isn't that deep. It's just about perspective.
The message is about her and the decision she makes at the end.
Exactly.
That's really the message.
Like,
I'm talking about that.
Right.
That.
Like the message itself is very simplistic. It's all about perspective. It's like, this was Ellie and this is the way she viewed life, and this was Abby and this is the way she viewed life. That's why Homeboy and this, you know, all that stuff happened or whatever. I'm not going to spoil it. But yes, if that happened, it would be like more crying on Twitter than oh, I don't like what's happening here. It'd be like, oh no, like I just witnessed this and the buildup, and I didn't see it coming or whatever. And then it would kind of like play that dialogue where it was like, oh, I see now why Abby was so angry and wanted to do this thing, as they played through the game like casually. You know what I'm saying? By like day 3, they would have got to the point in the story and been like, oh, this game's about perspective. But because it was like, okay, so basically before you get to play the game, this is what happens. Bam. One of your favorite things like goes away or whatever. And then it's like, oh, well, I don't want to even understand. I don't even care what's going on in the first 8 hours or whatever.
And I think if it wasn't for the leaks, you would have wanted to understand. A lot of people would have.
Exactly.
But that's my point. And this is my opinion. You don't. No one has to agree with me. I'm just saying. Like this. I think the prejudgment of the game is what led to a lot of the discourse that happened. I'm not talking about the fucking stupid political bullshit that people are talking about. No, I'm talking about regarding that aspect itself. Dan, what did you think of this? I haven't even gotten your opinion yet.
I mean, I love the game. I mean, I don't, you know, I like the first one, I think, better, but that's just personal opinion. I didn't get spoiled with anything. So
you're so lucky.
Yeah.
You're so lucky. Cause I did. I was so fucking mad. I was more mad that I had it spoiled than what actually happened. Yeah. I swear to God, on my mother's life, when it got spoiled, I'll never forget it. It was when the pandemic first hit, and I had moved out of my house. I was because I was working at the ICU at the time. And I remember when it happened, I'm like, no, why did I just find this out? I wasn't like, oh fuck, really? I was just like, oh man, why? I don't want to know this. Yeah. I wanted this to fucking hit me when I actually played it. Yeah. So go ahead. I'm sorry, dude. I cut you off. My bad.
I saw a tweet that that there were spoilers going around, so immediately I went in and muted everything. You know, anything to do with Naughty Dog, I blocked them on Twitter. Anything with Last of Us 2. I mean, I went crazy with like the muted word. So when I got to it, I mean, everything was fine. I don't understand. I thought that was a pinnacle of 2020. Like that was the controversy. that we would have, and then we have. I didn't think it would go. Yeah,
without question.
Yeah, I didn't think it was going to go anywhere from there. I thought it was
Mm-hmm.
going to, that was it. So I was like, okay, well, we've hit our low point, from just the discourse, which, to be fair, I missed out on quite a bit because I had all that stuff muted. And then same with Cyberpunk, you guys are seeing, between you and Ains, and from what I hear, you guys are seeing a lot more about it than I am, because I actually have those mute, like CDPR, Cyberpunk, all that's muted on Twitter for me. I actually unmuted everything, and then I saw like one thing. I was like, no, I ain't gonna deal with this. So I just went back and I just like, I'm gonna enjoy the game. Not, I don't want to get you, because you gotta get your mind, pre-blown, and you want to experience it for the first time by yourself, and you want to, have everything hit you that first time, and that matters in all games, So I didn't understand the controversy. I understood, like, I saw where the people were coming from with the political stuff, which was garbage. That's one thing. The other, the spoiling thing, that's just wrong. Period. I mean, I don't, but people got so up in their feelings about these things, and I understand if you're upset with the story. That I get, because that's just especially when you have games like that. This is a sequel to a game that people regarded as one of the best stories ever.
Of course,
what it did, with the characters and how much you were actually invested in them. And I don't generally get invested into stuff like that, but there are a few games here and there, and The Last of Us was one of them, where you're like, yeah, this matters, right? Like I care about these characters, so I get where people were upset, but like the way they voiced their opinion, I think it was, uncalled for. I mean, there was really no need to. I mean, you're gonna sit here and yell at, like, Neil Druckmann for delivering this amazing game, and I went back. Actually, I loaded it like 2 days ago on my PS5. I can't even play it because it's not 60 FPS. Like, it's crazy to me. That's what I get upset about. Like, like I loaded up, and I'm just like, when I played this on my PS4 Pro, it was the most gorgeous looking game I've ever played.
Yeah.
And
You're
now,
spoiled now. You're spoiled.
Now I'm like, what the hell is this garbage?
I know.
I can't even play this. I was in the middle of whatever, one of the cities, and I was like, man, this is way better the first time I played it. Now that I've seen everything else, but that's literally the only complaint. It's not even a complaint. It just is what it is, So I'm hoping for a patch so I can play through it again, but that's one of the series where people have so much invested in it that I get where you're going to have strong feelings one way or the other. But, at the same time, at the same time, there's no reason to get that mad over anything. But yeah, I mean,
bro, like, I mean, you don't have to like the fucking game. You don't have to like it. I swear to God, I'm telling you, if you didn't like the narrative or the direction that they went, that's fine. And I completely get it. I get it. I understand. Right. But just the fucking reaction to it, right? It's as if like a fucking family member died. You guys but people need to chill, man. Jesus Christ. Like the way that
storytelling, though. If you get an audience to react like that, that's very good storytelling, though.
Not that's not healthy. Not in that way.
That's true.
I'm just going off of what he was saying. Just the reactions themselves, I mean, it was just bad. It was bad.
True. That's true.
That's all I meant. So
I'm glad, I can't wait to see what they've got next, whatever direction they go, whether it's, the number 3 or number, or a whole new game, Naughty Dog's always been amazing.
Yeah, I think they need something different now.
Yeah, they do one type of game. They know what they are. There's no changing, that's what they are. They're a story-driven, always, kind of a narrative game. They're going to, you look at the Uncharted series and you say, okay, well, this is what it is because this is what they wanted you to experience. So that's their story. I'm not going to go tell somebody, you're going to burn in hell because I didn't like what how you handled it. But, I can definitely disagree with, aspects of it, I guess.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Just a real quick hit on what we were talking about with Ghost of Tsushima. What I find interesting is kind of what we were talking about earlier, where it was like when you go from kind of like Tomb Raider to Avengers or whatever. How Sucker Punch did theirs. They did it was like a superhero. Infamous is what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Cityscape is more so Seattle in Second Son, and I think some made up stories in the first two, some made up New Orleans or something in two, and then some other made up city in the first one or whatever. And then they rotated over to basically back in the day, their whole environment changed, their whole like theme changed, you know? And so I was just thinking about that because Last of Us 2 rolling over to Ghost of Tsushima, and I was thinking their last game was full of cityscapes and roads and stuff and explosions and things like that. And then they went off to do another thing that was quite different, although it was the same open world style, but that Japanese setting differentiated so much from Second Son. So it's like one of those things like that's probably how you would want to go about it. You know what I mean? So I just found Ghost of Tsushima one of those games where it's like it's very plain. And we've talked about this too, Mo, like when we did like it's so plain and it's so open worldy, but damn it, is it gorgeous? And it does something just a little bit different. And it sprawled off all this, you know, coming off of the negativity of Last of Us 2 as well. I mean, you got a painting on your TV in motion at all times with that game. You know, you're stimulated in this beautiful way, like in this gorgeous way, not in this like, ooh, these are cool graphics, even though they are cool graphics, but it's the colors and it's the flow of the wind and stuff like that. Plus you get to like, I don't know. I didn't really enjoy the combat personally in that game. And I know a lot of people will kind of like be like, what the fuck? But I just thought the combat could be a little bit more like,
what the fuck?
Yeah, dude. Like it was good, but it was not as responsive as I thought it was going to be. And the control scheme was just weird to me. Like I was like, why are these buttons to switch? And why are these buttons to throw things? Whatever. And I was just like, I'm going to get used to it or whatever. But yeah, coming off the Last of Us 2 to get Ghost of Tsushima from a studio that usually does cityscapes, you know, I don't know. I was just like kind of thinking just about like that's how you would probably want to do it. Like if Ubisoft did a different Assassin's Creed where it was just like futuristic and set it in the past, it's like, oh wow, that's way different. You know, if they went like the cyberpunk route or whatever, futuristic way in the future, assassins still exist. Whoa. But if they just did, oh, we're doing a Japanese ninja Assassin's Creed, it'd be like, okay, that's pretty much similar. You know what I mean? But anyways.
Yeah, you got to be able to take chances with your IPs.
Yes.
You got to be able to take chances with the games you put out. And I think a lot of devs did that this year and, you know, to mixed results. And that's fine. You know, you get that every year. So, but, you know, you don't want everything to be stagnant. You don't want, you know, I mean, Ubisoft put out, you know, this is obviously the bigger studio, the publisher. It's they put out 3 games. They put out Watch Dogs Legion, they put out Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and then Immortals. You know, all 3 of those games within like a 2-month period. All crazy, you know, very, very good games, you know, but all very, very different, right? So, you know, they've got a stable of studios though, you know. So you look at somebody like, you know, like just Sucker Punch, they're going to work on a game, or I don't know how Insomniac is doing it right now. Like, they keep putting out more and more stuff, and it all looks amazing. And then they got Ratchet and Clank still coming. They are like, if there was like one studio right now,
machines, bro.
Oh my god! Like I just played through Miles Morales with the ray tracing performance mode, right? So it's 60 frames with ray tracing, a few less cars and people.
Yeah,
it's insane what they did. I was like, holy crap! Like you could see, like the person standing next to you in Miles's armor. You know, like
awesome.
It's nuts, you know. And then you get, you know, other studios that are doing just as much as they need to, right? And it's all just different. Everybody, you know, kind of approaches it differently, but you got to take chances, I think. And I think we saw some of that this year with like Ghost of Tsushima, with The Last of Us 2, and Cyberpunk. You know, I mean, it's they kind of push the envelope a little bit. Not changing it up where it's, you know, unfamiliar. You're still going to have that familiarity, but you're also going to have a new experience, you know, and that's what I kind of want to see. I don't need, you know, something 100% different. You know, talk a lot about the Pathless. That game is something that it's an amazing game. It's something that I would normally not play, and now it's probably my game of the year.
Wow.
It's that good.
That's
I
the
can't
bow and
wait.
arrow one. Where
Yeah.
you can, like, slide
It's
through?
it's not super complicated. It's not super flashy. It just does what it does really
so
well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I heard too. Yeah, dude. That's gonna be the next game I play after Cyberpunk. When
So
I
good.
put Cyberpunk down, that's probably gonna be the first one that I jump into.
It's not a long one. It's nice.
Yeah, I
short.
know. It's a nice little break. I might actually play it in between my first Cyberpunk playthrough and then my second. I think it's gonna be like my break from Cyberpunk until I get back to it. But since we started talking about games, I'm gonna I'm gonna talk about the games, like at least honorable mentions that I had. Everybody's are different, and the games that I really enjoyed, instead of like doing like a countdown, I don't want to do a countdown because there's so many games that I personally enjoyed, and dude, there's so many great ones that I haven't really dove into. And like, for instance, honorable mentions that I'm gonna talk about that are games that I played some of, but I have not been able to complete for either time, or because there was something else that I really wanted to play, or because there was just something in the game that just made me walk away. For me, I had Doom Eternal, which I fully intend to go back to. Okay.
Changing the FPS, baby.
Ori is on some Game of the Year lists, and the only reason why it's not on mine is not because I did not like it, is because I didn't play it. But because I recognize how incredible it is from what everybody's telling me, that's why I feel like I just owe the game at least that. I feel like I owe the game that type of respect to at least put it there. So I do wish that I was able to play that game, but do time. Final Fantasy VII Remake, I'll say that I enjoyed some aspects of it, but once I hit the 20th hour, something like that. Once I got to Aerith, I think her name is, the girl with the braids. Once I got to her village over there, that's when I kind of got bored. I was like, yeah. So I just put the game down. I was like, fuck this. I don't
feel
really.
you, man.
Yeah. But still, I feel like it still needs to be mentioned. We have to mention at least Animal Crossing New Horizons. They've just put a few hours into it, but I mean, it's a phenomenon. I mean, that has to be mentioned at least by me. Fall Guys, for what it did for a game that just had like this extreme challenge type of premise to it, and for daring to actually do that, a battle royale, but in those kinds of challenges, and for it to get the popularity that it did, I thought that was really fantastic. I do wish it was on more. Consoles, for more people to experience it, because I really feel, Xbox would have been fucking awesome to have it on PC. It is on it, but I think Xbox and Switch definitely that would have been a nice addition, at least to that ecosystem as well, which I think it's going to come anyway. But Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, I played the old ones so many times. I played the new one just a bit, because it's nice to play it, but still, I just felt like, I could move on to other things, but at least I wanted to mention that. Watch Dogs Legion. Only reason I put it in is because I know Ainsley said he loved it a lot, and I know a lot of people said they liked it a lot. It broke away from the traditional Ubisoft formula in a sense, without filling the map, with fluff. And then obviously Dirt 5, from what I've played of it so far, I absolutely love it. It's really, really good. And yeah, man, and you know what, dude, I have to mention this. SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated. I'm telling you guys, if you want a solid platformer, I swear to God, it is awesome. It is so good. I sank a good amount of time into it. I really like the old platformer anyway, so I was pretty excited when they said they were remaking this or remastering it, but I will definitely mention that in the honorables. Dan, what do you got as honorables?
Man, I mean, a lot of them that you said, like kind of Final Fantasy VII, and jeez, there were so many games that came out that.
Do you want me to
Like,
just
what-
read you? You want me to read you some, and then you tell me
Like-
whether it's an honorable or not?
Like honorable mention, like Wasteland 3, I think is an overlooked game, that came out this year. That was a really big surprise for me. Super deep RPG.
Oh yeah.
Kind of turn-based combat. It was, I mean, it like took a bunch of different little things and just put it together, and it was gorgeous to look at. Even the small details. It was such a good game, and that was kind of like between like 6 and 10. If I was going like, but that one I think it gets overlooked because it's a very niche.
Yes.
Kind
Yes.
of thing. Like Flight Simulator. It's very niche. Another game that I don't know if it went overlooked. I'm sure it sold okay. Like Star Wars Squadrons. Love that game. Love the VR aspect of it on PlayStation.
Oh, cool.
I couldn't, like, I bought it on Xbox too because it was on sale, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna play this just with a controller, and because I played it with a flight stick, VR headset, all that good stuff.
Right.
I was totally immersed, and I can't even play with the controller. It sucks. I mean, it's a great game, and don't get me wrong, it looks amazing. It just, after you've been into that, you're into that kind of immersive feeling. It's so tough. I mean, there's so many games like Immortals surprised me. That's the ones when you look at like Wasteland 3, Immortals surprised me. Yakuza surprised me. Ghost of Tsushima surprised me. I got a lot of nice surprises. Last of Us 2 was a great game, but that's on everybody's list. But you look at like even at launch, like Astro's Playroom, showing off the new DualSense. I don't think it's like groundbreaking as a game, but like what it does very, very well, and it's free. It comes with the damn PlayStation. So but there was a ton of other ones. I didn't play all of them. Yeah. So that's the biggest thing. I played quite a bit though, and it's I don't know, man. There's a ton of them. Like I had such a hard time putting together a top 5 list.
That's why I didn't want to do I can't, man. It's hard, I mean, I can unequivocally say, all right, fine. I was telling you guys before the show, like for me, my game of the year is before Cyberpunk. My game of the year was Ghost Runner, and I would have never ever expected that, even over Ghost of Tsushima.
That's
Mike.
When the patch came around, I was like, "What the hell is this shit?"
Those are the best ones, man. The ones that come out of nowhere and hit you so fucking hard. I love it, man. They're so good. Mike, what did you think? Honorables. Well, honorables, yeah, bro. Because I know it seems like all you've played this year is fucking Avengers.
I know, right?
And Cyberpunk, man.
I know, man. If I were to do honorables, I'm even going to mention games that I didn't play just because what I see, I feel like I can grasp and like I'll love it. Final Fantasy Remake 7 will be one of them. All right, so starting from the beginning of the year, Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, I loved it, dude.
Yes,
I loved it so much.
Hold on, is that an honorable?
Go ahead.
Or
Yes.
I'm sorry. Oh, that's wow,
honorable.
really?
Oh yeah, bro.
That's one of my games this year.
Kakarot was one of those games where it's the Dragon Ball Z game I wanted when I was like, a freshman in high school, watching the series and emulating Goku while I was playing football and shit like that. It's the fast-paced, hard-hitting type, and it wasn't a fighting game, which was great. Darksiders Genesis, I'm going to mention, even though I got it in 2019, I want to mention it again because it did come out for consoles in February. Just another good game done by Airship Studios. It's a small little studio, that Airship Syndicate. They're a small studio who are now doing stuff for League of Legends. So they went from making their own IP, which is Battle Chasers, to continuing. These are some of the folks that did Darksiders 1. They split whenever THQ went bankrupt. So Airship Syndicate is Joe Mad, the artist. He's like a comic book artist and stuff like that. He did Darksiders Genesis along with Stefanelli, Ryan Stefanelli, and they just did Darksiders before. And even though it's isometric camera view, it's Darksiders at the soul, and I love that, man. I love that hack and slash and the lore, the 4 horsemen, Bible shit. It's so good. So mentioning that. Game that I didn't play, but I do want to mention Dreams. That came out in 2020. Is that right? Dreams is one of those
I think the final
games.
version, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Dreams is one of those games where it's like, whew, the things that I saw that people were making from that was just so impressive.
Yeah.
Where it's like, bro, man, why didn't you, like, if you don't work in gaming, why don't you work in gaming now?
That
Kind of thing.
that game needs to go to PC. It needs
Every
to go to PC.
every person that has some sort of inkling to make video games should get that game. Like, I wanted to get it so bad, but I know if I get it, I'll be on it for like so long, and it'll like, it'll take away from other things just because the creativity that game has, very awesome. Two games that this is what I mean. I just want to mention two studios that I've been paying close attention to this year as well: Square Enix and Capcom. Speaking of Capcom, Bayonetta and the Vanquish remasters, like coming out of left field. Yeah, solid stuff. It makes me think, like, what the hell is Capcom doing? On top of, they released that Iceborne thing for Monster Hunter World. They did what else? They're releasing a bunch of Mega Man stuff. Mega Man Zero, Mega Man collections and stuff like that. So it's just like, dude, Capcom, I want some Onimusha and I want a third-person Mega Man game up to date. AAA, big deal. I want ray tracing on Mega Man's armor. I want that shit to change. I want it all. Capcom, I see you. You're doing good. Virgil as well, just released. So that's big for Devil May Cry Special Edition. Neo 2 is another one I played quite a bit. I didn't beat it, but it's an exceptional Souls-like game. It's the same people who did Ninja Gaiden. So even though it's Souls-like, you still got a lot of combos and a lot of freestyle depending on your weapons and stuff. So Souls players I know love that game. Neo 2 is great. I didn't play it, but Resident Evil 3, another Capcom game where I'm just like, Capcom, way to go, bros. What are you guys doing over there? Way to go, man. Yeah.
Capcom had a renaissance, man. These last couple
that's what I'm
generation.
saying. Yeah, and I'm loving it. And then just to hit on not games that I entirely play a lot of, but I definitely watch people play because I'm into it personally, is Dragon Ball Z Fighters, which is still getting characters, which is just I know. Dude, I love that, man.
I know.
Like Batman Arkham Knight just got 2 skins recently, and I'm just like, I love that. Whenever you think games are so dead, and then it's like, whoa, they're getting DLC drops. This is great. And Mortal Kombat 11, of course. All games that I like. It's one of those things where it's like, I wish I had the energy to stay awake like for 5 days straight and just play video games. You know what I'm saying? Like type of games, but I just can't get around to them. Like, yeah, like I said, man, so many good games this year, but those would be my ones that like really personally hit me, as a gamer for me.
Nice. That's good, man. That's good shit. I like that,
bro.
Bro.
I mean, I've been playing Warzone all fucking year as well, and you can't like shout out, I guess, to Call of Duty.
Yeah, I know. Well, you have to mention it, but Warzone, I had to actually like cut it completely. It's so fucking weird. It's as if you're talking about smoking cigarettes or even a drug.
Exactly.
I seriously had to cut. I had to cut Warzone cold turkey at the end of May, and I haven't played a single minute of it since, because I realized it was just really hampering my playtime with the other games. Right, like I played so much. 97 wins. I was playing with the same fucking guys every night, and I'm just like, bro, like Persona 5 Royal, I didn't touch
I was gonna mention
I thought about was just playing Warzone every day, and I'm like, if I stay like this, I realize video games enjoyment, you're having fun, but I'm still buying other games too. So if I can't play those, then what's the fucking point? So that's really the only reason why I pulled myself away from that.
Yeah. And there's a bunch of games in there too, like Persona, and Yakuza, which are games that I've never really been into, but I see why people like them a lot. And it's just one of those, I don't want to take anything away from it just because I haven't played it. But I do want to mention those where it's just like, those are the games that I really were intrigued, but I just didn't get around to. Bloodstained, Curse of the Moon is also another one, just to dive into that. It's just like, that's cool, man.
You got say Hades too?
Oh, yeah. Hades is another one that I've been like eyeballing a lot.
I played Hades on the Switch. I put a few hours into it, but I don't think like the whole roguelite is for me.
Nope.
The game is amazing. I mean, I'm not taking anything away from it, but for me personally, I just don't like roguelites because it's so frustrating for me to have to like, you do what, 6 rooms, 7 rooms.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell I was doing.
All the way back, whatever the hell it is, So I was just like, it didn't resonate with me. As much as everybody else does, but it's It's amazing still. Okay, so for me, my top games of the year, okay, since we're talking about it, I have to mention, so Mike, you were saying Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. I loved it because it kind of like reinvigorated this, I used to kind of be like, with Dragon Ball Z, I used to watch it and I'm like, whatever. Then this game came out. I'm like, ooh, RPG. It's not a fighter. I'm not really a big fan of fighters. So I'm like, it's not a fighter. There's a story behind it. Okay. So, ooh, it's the entire Z saga. Hey, you know what? Fuck it. Let's play it. Let's see it again. Cause I never watched the entire Z saga when I was younger. Right. So for me, it was a way to play it and see it all. And that's why it resonated. Probably you're a much bigger Dragon Ball Z fan than I am. But for me, it resonated with me because I got to see what I missed out on. And right after I finished the game, I started Dragon Ball Super, and I watched it. I watched the entire fucking saga, right? So that's what it did for me, and that's why the game for me resonated with me more for that purpose.
Dude. Yes, that's a good game too. Even from a DBZ hardcore fan, like that's the game that I'll tell you right now, Mo, I feel like they would be lying or they haven't been watching Dragon Ball Z as long as I have. That is a game that every Dragon Ball Z fan wanted to begin with in the beginning. Yeah. Budokais and all that shit, whatever. Fighting games. Okay, I get it. Yeah. I
didn't care for those. Another game I want to mention, Streets of Rage 4. I'm a big Streets of Rage slappy. If you know me, you know that. I have the OG games on the Genesis. I've played them a million times, and I loved 4. I thought it was fucking amazing. Initially, I was pretty hesitant, because 3 was probably the black sheep of the original series. Even though I still thought 3 was excellent on its own, but still compared to 2, especially 2, it just wasn't whatever. But then 4 came out. They did an amazing job with the game. They kept it feeling old school with new flavor. They didn't alienate you as a fan of the series from the 90s, and at the same time they did enough to bring in people from now, from the new generation that didn't grow up with Streets of Rage. So I thought that was great. Art style was excellent.
That art style will keep it timeless too, I think.
Oh, absolutely, man. Obviously, Dan mentioned Astro's Playroom earlier. I think Astro's Playroom is excellent on its own just because of the way that it incorporates all of the functionality of the DualSense. It adds a lot of, as charming as the game is itself, I think just the way that, it's a tech demo for the DualSense. That's pretty much what it is, and I thought they did a fantastic job with that. It's still the best integration. I don't think we're ever going to get integration with the DualSense as good as Astro's Playroom. To get the full functionality of the controller, I don't think we're going to see that for a while. Crash 4, I have to mention Crash 4 because you're talking about a series that was pretty much dead up until the revival with the remasters or the remakes of the original 3. And then they bring out Crash Kart again, and then when Activision took the franchise, they fucked around with some of but they brought a lot of weird shit into it that nobody really cared about. And they kind of got away from what made the original so good. And this game just, for a studio that made a brand new game, a follow-up to the original trilogy, 20 years later, for them to get what the series is actually about and to make it that much fun and enjoyable and hard. There's still that thing in the Crash games that just kind of makes you be like, well, no, I can get every box. You don't have to. You can enjoy it, but still, they still made it for both sides. For the people that just want to enjoy a Crash game and for the people that are the perfectionists that are kind of like, no, I want every fucking box in there. So
yeah.
What an amazing job they did with that, man.
I actually talked to a buddy who platinum crashed and he was like, I am not doing that shit again. He was like, good on that.
It's crazy. It's fucking crazy. Honestly. Sackboy is another one of those games that needs to be mentioned.
Yeah.
It was on nobody's radar. It came out, surprised so many people. It's making games of the year lists. I know Ainsley's got it on his game of the year lists as well. Not game of the year, but in one of his favorite games of the year. And, obviously I talked about Ghost Runner. I've talked about it a lot of times. You guys have heard it. I thought it was just fantastic in the way that it crept up on me. Last of Us 2, we've already discussed it. Immortals Phoenix Rising. If there is 2 darlings of the year, it would be Ghost of Tsushima and Immortals Phoenix Rising. Yep. Immortals was written off more than Ghost of Tsushima, right? And
Yeah.
because everybody just had it pegged as just like, oh, it's a Breath of the Wild clone made by Ubisoft, so it's basically Assassin's Creed and Breath of the Wild. And you know what, bro? For someone like me who didn't enjoy Breath of the Wild too much, and for someone like me who does not like open worlds that much, this game just fucking had it. I love the organic exploration. There's no list, there's no checklist. It doesn't feel like an RPG. There's no chores. The game doesn't feel like a chore to play, you know? I love the tongue-in-cheek humor. I love the art style. I thought the combat was fantastic. It was tight. The game was excellent for what it is. It's a video game that is not meant to be taken so fucking seriously and to just be fun. It's not meant to be. It's not meant to feel like a chore to play. And that, to me, honestly, man, I was really sad to put that down for Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
I swear to God I was. And I do intend on going back to it, because I invested, about 15 hours so far into it. And that's not into the main storyline, just in general. So I do want to go back. Dan, what do you got, bro?
Man, you guys mentioned pretty much all of them. That was probably the one that, between that and Ghost of Tsushima, it was really hard to pick between those two. And I still kind of flip-flop, depending on the time of day. So either one of those were probably my favorite games of the year. And I can. And Ghost wasn't like objectively the best game ever made. It wasn't like, you can separate those, separate those games, and from like, okay, this is objectively like a good game. Like everything they've done with it is just amazing. And a lot of parts are, it did have some issues, and the same with the Pathless to a certain extent, and The Last of Us, all the games, I basically ranked mine as just like how much did I enjoy playing this game, and that's really the bottom line when it comes to kind of this kind of thing. Yakuza Like a Dragon, I'm a huge Yakuza guy, so I've been playing, the entire series. It's always been a certain way. I've kind of got accustomed to it. I was really kind of put off by what I saw, before I played it, and it turned out to be one of my top 3 games this year. And then there's like other little games like Spider-Man. It's not a huge game, Miles Morales, but it had a really, really good story, and it kind of resonated with me being Puerto Rican. So it kind of, I kind of saw some of the stuff that I saw growing up in Chicago in the game.
That's awesome.
So like it was like, oh man, I remember this kind of stuff. I remember, the down the street and having going over to my grandpa's house, and it was that kind of thing. It was really, really cool for me, and that's why I think I enjoyed that game a lot, aside from it being Spider-Man. I love Spider-Man, and so that game was another one for me. Like you said, Immortals, another one that I wasn't expecting. I love Breath of the Wild, but I'm almost to the point now where it's like, man, this is it's years later, but it's almost does it better. It does a lot of things. It's a little, maybe a little bit. If they took the compass off, right, and you just played it as with just using your eyes. That's all you got, right? No markers all over the place except for the ones that you put down. Just take the map away, make it a little bit more, then it would have been amazing. But it's still amazing. I still love that game. Then there was, like we said, there's a lot of honorable mentions, but those games really kind of hit me this year. Cyberpunk, also is up there. We were spoiled this year, in a year that we probably shouldn't have been.
Yes.
Given the circumstances, we still got so many good games, so many, unexpected things, and there was something for everybody, like you said, no, Hades isn't your type of game. It's not my type of game either, because, I don't know what's going on mostly, so, but, I can see the appeal.
Right.
Love that game, and I get it, so I don't know, man. There's almost too much. It was kind of nice to see these new IPs kind of pop up and kind of knock some of these older ones out of the limelight. Not totally, but it's like, hey, look, new fresh IP. We got Ghost of Tsushima. We've got Cyberpunk. We've got all this other. It's and that's the comic book fan in me. Gosh, I'm trying to think. That's probably about it. I play a little bit of Tony Hawk. I'm kind of the same way. It's one of those games where you kind of jump in.
Yeah.
Play between stuff. I think I'm going to play a couple rounds.
You can't commit to it. Like, it's just not a game that yeah.
But I get that. I really neglected my Switch this year, even though when I got my email, I was like, what the hell?
Me too, man.
300 hours into the damn Switch. And then I realized that my kids played a crap ton of Animal Crossing on my account. So I know I didn't play that much. I know I didn't. So next year I look at the Switch and I'm like, okay, there's Monster Hunter Rise.
Yeah.
There's a ton more games coming out for it. So it'll probably, I played some Wii Fit. Not Wii Fit. What the hell is it? The Ring Fit.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Yes.
What he talks about that? I actually lost a couple pounds. I put
that shit will wear you out, dude. It's no joke. Oh yeah.
It's crazy. Like at first I just watched my son do it. I was like, nah, I'm good. I wanted to get something. This is how it turned out. Like I saw it on sale, and I wanted to get something because I knew they were going to be, not going to school. They're going to be remote learning. So I was like, well, they need some kind of physical activity because they're going to get chunky otherwise. So I was like, I'm going to get them this where they can play their video games and still have that interactive experience. So it didn't work out exactly like I had planned, but it's still, it's another, I don't even know if that came out this year, but I picked it up this year for the first time. So it's my only game I own physically. The actual
Which one?
Cartridge, Ring Fit.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I forgot you're digital, dude. Oh yeah.
I think I found an old Overwatch game the other day when I was cleaning out some stuff, but short of that, that's it, man.
Jeez, dude, you're like completely digital. That's fucking nuts.
Yeah.
Mike, what do you got, bro?
Just the big hitters, Mo. Like I said, Ghost, Avengers, Cyberpunk, Last of Us 2. I would say, honestly, Mo, The Last of Us 2 was a game that probably impacts me a little bit more than all these other games, because when it comes to The Last of Us 2, I do feel like the perspective thing that they were trying to show with Abby and Ellie is just so good to me that it breaches that wall of just gaming and then getting something from the art piece. I don't know.
But that's something that I try to convey sometimes, and I just feel like it's pointless because not everybody sees it that way. I fucking agree with you 100% regarding
like,
that.
Oh, bro, it's honestly not that deep, and it's like, no, it's not that deep.
I'm like,
it's
okay,
it's a very simple perspective thing.
Yes,
because I do feel like because people can get caught up in their own selves a lot and not really want to hear or even listen if that other person is talking to, like, hey, this is how I view it. Like, oh no, I don't care. You could UK Jade, UKJ or whatever. So it's like, I'm not even going to hear it, but I think, dude, the moment I started playing as Abby, it was one of those moments for me this year where it was like, I cannot believe they did this. Like,
it's ballsy.
Dude, it is so good.
That's all I was trying to say. It was just fucking ballsy, man. Like, they dared to do that. And I like, a lot of people are like, well, I don't really care about Abby's perspective. Yeah, you don't, but they still dared to show you it.
Yeah. Let me tell you something. When that happened, I was like, fuck this bitch. That's literally what I said. I was like, who the fuck is this?
Yeah, I wanted her to die too. Of course we did.
So mad.
We all did.
So mad. But then, like, I got through it. I'm like, all right, touche, Naughty Dog.
Yes.
Yeah. You know what? Fine. I get that. I get what you did. I was still mad at the time, but now, looking back on it and looking at it with some perspective, I see why they did it, and they did it really, really well, regardless of how, like, I feel about it personally.
Sure.
Abby's one of my favorite characters of the year. One of my favorite characters. One of them that I hated immediately.
You wanted her to die.
I did. I didn't like her at all.
Oh my god! Like, I'm talking Cersei Lannister death.
Yeah,
like that's what I wanted for her.
Right. I wanted her to get, like, just destroyed by something.
Yes.
And who was the voice actress that came? Ashley something?
Laura Bailey.
Laura Bailey. Oh my God, that's a comp. Just it shows how much she put into that character. To me, Laura Bailey was, just the fact that she made me care about somebody that I hated so much, and whoever did Lev as well in that game.
Yeah.
It was that connection when I look back on it, and because I played through it twice, because I played through everything twice, and I look back and I go, right, and because you want to kind of see what you missed the first time, and I was just like, I get it, I get why they did it, and I appreciate it a lot more, in hindsight. Yeah, at the time, totally pissed off. I was so mad. Not at like Naughty Dog, but like I was like, fuck her.
For storytelling purposes.
Yeah, but what they did, I understand what they did, and
it's not just that too, man. It's also the fucking. I mean, because I had this conversation too with some people, a few friends, and we were talking about the scene in the theater, the boss fight. That was fucking incredible.
That's what I was going to mention next.
I'm like, bro, like they dared to do this too. Like they really showed you the person that you are, or the person that you've been playing, this person that you love. They dared to show it to you from another perspective. And whether you like that or not, or whether it made you uncomfortable or not, that's the purpose of it. The purpose of it was to make you feel uncomfortable and to make you question your loyalty. At least that's the way I saw it, right? Maybe you might not agree with me, and that's completely fine. But that's the way I saw it. I was just like, whoa, this is some wall, like this is fourth wall breaking shit.
Yes.
That's at least, so that's really what it was.
I like it a lot, Mo, because it's one of those things where it's like, it's real. Okay. So when I mean real, I'm not being like, oh man, it's real. Like it's realistic. No, what I'm saying it's real is like, the hero in the real world, it's not like a hero villain story in the real world. You know what I'm saying? And so in this case, when I mean real, okay, I'm going to have to kind of spoil some shit because, we're going to talk about it all the way. Okay. When Joel dies, like I was sad and like, oh, I don't like this. You know what I'm saying? Like, what the fuck? But then I instantly resonated with it because of my military experience. Like, dude, I know what it's like to be like, it doesn't matter how skilled, how smart, how good looking, how fast, how any of that is, you could get yours at any moment. You know what I'm saying? No matter how much training you do, no matter how much this you do, how much that you do, like when it comes to like killing people or whatever, like you're going to fucking get yours, especially in that world that they live in. And they went that way to show you the perspective of Abby and then going all the way through to have Ellie to be the boss, dude, because to Ellie, she's probably not the boss in her perspective. It's Abby who's the enemy, and vice versa. But anyways, they showed you those two perspectives. And dude, I just remember that game, because whenever I played The Last of Us 1, I was like, this is just some too real for fucking people type of game. And I didn't really care because I was just like fresh out of that kind of mindset where it's like, oh, you got to survive and all this shit. Like, I get it. I'm good on that. But then whenever they came with 2, I was like, how are they going to like really impact? Like, how are they going to punch me in the chest and be like, this is that same first game? And that's how they did it with the perspective shtick. And I loved that perspective so much. I liked Abby as well because she lived in this type of very regimented, militaristic type of living space. And like, I really gravitated towards that. And I was like, if I was Abby and had that training, had those many people like having my back, I'm in a compound that has weights, that has food, that has all this stuff. Unlike Abby or Ellie and Joel.
She's a soldier. She's a soldier. Dude, she fucking grew up. Yeah, but
exactly, man. And to have your father so your dad is trying to basically kind of save the world. Unfortunately, he has to take Ellie and blend her up to little fucking kibbles and bits and like experiment and do all that stuff. But unfortunately, Joel kind of just killed the wrong person. And dude, that's how it would be in real life. Like in real life, it would just be that one stray bullet that would just be like, oh fuck, man, damn, that sucks. Like shouldn't have went there on that day, on that time, destiny, you want to call it whatever, you know what I'm saying? But the whole perspective of Abby changed a lot of what I thought gaming could do. And that's why I liked it. And I even remember saying I played it through and I was like, I'm good on that game. I'm probably not going to play it again.
Yeah, I remember that. That was that was after we finished playing it. You were kind of like, on it. You were like maybe like an 8. I remember you told me you were like, I got it at like an 8.
But recently, within the past, I want to say month or so, I've been seeing some footage of it and just people talking about it. And I'm like, I do want to revisit that game again. Like maybe if not to go through the whole story, but just to hit the certain beats.
Yeah.
And the mechanics on top of that reminded me so much of Metal Gear Solid that I was like, even the combat mechanics are very good in that game too. So I would say the most impactful game of 2020 for me is The Last of Us 2. The most beautiful game is Ghost of Tsushima. The most fun game to me is probably Avengers. I find that game very, very fun. And the most like into it immersive game that I'm getting is Cyberpunk. So those would probably be my tops for this.
Those are good categories, bro.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. Dan,
man, I don't know,
do we keep you too long?
No, I'm good. 3 times. I don't even know what the hell is happening. Dr. Pepper. That's what it is. I think I drank a whole can of Monster and an entire bottle of Dr. Pepper.
It's that 2020 releasing from you, bro.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what I feel like.
Absolutely. Yeah, man.
No, I'm good. I'm fine.
Dan, thanks for coming, bro. I appreciate you. Always love having you on, dude.
Anytime.
I swear.
Anytime.
You always go with it too, man, with the whole impromptu shit, It's awesome, bro. You kind of like
you can definitely tell like your experience with gaming, the way you talk and stuff. Like that's what I like that about you, bro.
I appreciate it, man. Yeah, I used to have a little. It didn't last very long. It was maybe like 20 episodes where we did. It's called Third Wheel Arcade. It was me and my buddy Alden, and then we had like it was us 2 hosting. Then we always had like a third wheel, which was like Ains was Undead on Twitter and a couple other guys. And we used to like if you look at like you've seen Ains's like outlines and stuff, right? Always really well done. Always got everything lined out. Ours was like, just talk about this shit. It was like always like, and we would just do like the dumbest shit. We talk about games, but we just didn't care as much as where it was just like we just threw it out there. I miss that. It was a super fun show.
Yeah.
Back in the day, I think I dressed up one time as something. It was ridiculous. It was a good time. We had a good and this it kind of reminds me of this, just kind of bullshitting and just doing off the cuff stuff and just but getting being able to sit here and talk with anybody really about games is super enjoyable.
Feels so good.
Yeah.
It's basically structured bullshitting.
You got to be able to get your stuff out. You got to be able to get your voice out there, but at the same time just enjoy the conversation at the same time.
Absolutely.
That's what this was.
Oh yeah, absolutely, brother. Oh yeah. Well, guys, thank you for whoever joined and whoever came into the chat. Appreciate you as always. Thanks for the love, for the retweets, for nothing makes my day more than when somebody just randomly messages me sometimes, rarely, occasionally. When they tell us like, hey man, you guys are fucking awesome. It's like 2 friends talking. I'm like, you know what, dude? That's why I did this. Honestly, it's fucking, it's fun.
That's it, man.
I need an outlet. I need an outlet, dude. This is my perfect outlet. I don't care. It's always nice, growth and people listening and whatnot. I love it. It's fantastic because I'm just like, oh, somebody gives a shit about my opinion, but at the same time, like more than anything, it's just an outlet for me. And I absolutely love doing this, man, with all of you guys. Yeah. So
I'm with you, man. It's all you do it until it's not fun anymore. And
exactly. And that is never going to fucking happen. That's for damn sure.
I don't know about that. I gotta stop this shit. But that's a long time coming. So
yeah, I know. Well, yeah. So for everybody, for me and for Mike and for Dan, thanks for joining us, guys. Thank you for listening this year too. And I hope this year, remember, it's just a number that's changing. I'm not trying to sound grim. We're going into 2021, but hopefully it's a better year for everybody and we can get some fucking monkeys off of our back and, at least just start off the right way, man.
For
so
real.
I hope,
Holy
honestly.
shit. January's looking good for games. Hitman 3, some side-scrolling ninja game.
Yeah,
There's
bro,
a few stuff out
I know,
there.
bro. I know.
We hit it
I
good.
wanted to squeeze that in, but I didn't want to fucking. I didn't want to squeeze. It would have dragged. I'm like, you know what, bro? I have to keep this out. Fucking Cyberpunk, bro, because we couldn't stop talking about it for the first half hour.
It's so good though.
Yeah,
That's what it is.
All right, yeah, man. I know. All right, guys. Well, thank you. Thanks for joining. I hope everybody has a happy and safe and healthy New Year, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Take it easy.
Guys.
Later.
Everybody.